Now for the most famous words in all of motorsports, please welcome to the victory podium, Mary Holman-George.
Danica. And gentlemen, start your engines.
Time crew fired up and real good from the start of pit entrance all the way around to about 2 with the sweet start.
Hey, Kurt, on your line in. Just looking.
Once a year you get a chance to race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and try and take that trophy home. And this moment right now for these drivers and teams, this is different than most.
It is different than most. And as a driver, you know the history of this track and what it would mean. If you haven't visited that victory lane, you know that you want that to happen. If you've already been there, you want to taste that again.
It's this moment right now where you really realize just how big this place really is and how much it would mean to win here.
So they'll roll off for the parade and pace laps momentarily, and then the green flag will fly for the 20th running of the Brickyard 400. 2 times in the previous 19 tries, a local one has gone to victory lane. Tony Stewart, Indiana native, chased his dream here until 2005 when he scored a huge win. 2 years later, he did it again, celebrating wildly both times. Tony's our ESPN in-race reporter for the day. We'll talk to Smoke on the pace laps next. And 43 drivers with a chance to become a part of that history today as you see the cars beginning to roll from the grid and begin the parade and pace laps. Tony Stewart, part of the history here. What a great track record of accomplishment at the Brickyard for Stewart. The 2-time winner has one of the best average finishes ever. He's completed every lap he's ever tried to run a NASCAR competition. And he's our ESPN in-race reporter starting from the inside of row 3.
Hey, Tony, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Sir.
Hey, Tony, we talked about the emotions and everything that it takes in getting ready for a big race and racing here at Indianapolis. I know you've had a huge week starting Wednesday night at your track in Eldora. You've also raced a couple of times. I'd have to think that some of that was by design to maybe help you not peak too early and think about this race too much because you love it so much. But can you kind of let us in on your emotions and thoughts as you get ready to start this race?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, this is definitely, my home race, obviously. So, it's a big deal to us to run good at home, and but it's been a good week. I mean, having Eldora this week was, I was pretty proud to have the Truck Series there, and thankful for NASCAR for letting us host that. And it did. It just kind of helped us keep our mind off of what we were doing here at Indy for a couple of days, but it's to the business at hand now.
Tony, our next question comes from our mailbag, and Linda in New Orleans asked, how special would it be for you to bring this number 14 car to victory lane here at Indianapolis?
It'd be huge, obviously. I mean, this is a place that AJ Foyt, is pretty much the son of this place. So, to bring the 14 home would be definitely be an awesome day. I think AJ'd be proud of us.
All right, Tony, we appreciate you talking with us. We'll be back with you during the race. You have a great afternoon now. Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Steve Addington.
All right, friend.
Hey, Steve Addington, Andy Petrie, do you have us?
Yes, sir. Andy, go ahead.
Hey, Steve, I know it takes a big-time team effort to win this race. It's a big one. But what would it mean to you personally? I know that winning here is special, and I would like to know how special would it be for you personally to win it?
Oh, it'd be big. I think it's one of the biggest races that a crew chief, a guy in my position, can accomplish to have this victory, have a win here under his belt. But, with all the history here, and it's just the way you feel when you walk in this place is just crazy. So to get that accomplished today with Tony Stewart and this race team would be really, really huge for me personally.
Well, we'll be looking right over your shoulder, Steve. We're right behind you in the booth, and hope you have good luck. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, watch out back there for me.
We'll do it.
You got his back, literally,
yeah,
right?
We do.
Tony Stewart, as the field completes the first of the pace laps here at Indy. Great high-definition onboard camera views for you today here at the Brickyard. From our GoDaddy camera, Danica Patrick carrying that one.
Remember what we talked about that temperature there, D. We'll keep an eye on the grass on the grill today, everybody. You know what you got for a number there to use if we need to pit there.
Copy.
And Tony Stewart has our Coke onboard camera today. Jeff Gordon, the Pepsi Max camera. Kevin Harvick with our Jimmy Johns on board. From pole position, Ryan Newman with the Quicken Loans camera. And the winner of this race a year ago, Jimmy Johnson with the Chevy on board.
I'd like to say thank you to all these great fans that are here with us today. And nice packed house. Good to see. Everybody back home, sit back, relax, enjoy the event.
How did Chad figure they'd get on the air like that? All right. Martin Truex Jr.'s got our Napa on board. And Carl Edwards has the Fastenal camera today. Some great high-definition onboard views for you from Indy. Check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Watch all the action live from Indy today with those 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Long pace laps at Indy. You will not miss the start. One lap before the start of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The 2013 Chevy Camaro ZL1 pace car out in front of the field. Sports Center anchor, an Indiana native Sage Steele with the honor behind the wheel. Jimmy Johnson warned her this was going to happen. Plunk.
Welcome to NASCAR.
Very fun. Page will be pulling in this time and turning the field loose before the green flag. Stories from pit road beginning with Doc.
Thank you very much, Alan. You know, with 4 victories here at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Jimmy Johnson's name stands alongside some of the all-time great legends like Foyt, Unser, Mears, and of course his mentor, Jeff Gordon. But with a win today, he could join Formula One legend Michael Schumacher as the only other driver to win here 5 times. Simply amazing. Here's Dave Burns.
Neither Carl Edwards nor his crew chief Jimmy Fennig have won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Separately, they've both been close, but together they are expected to fill an empty spot on the Roush Fenway Trophy case with a few bricks. Vince Welch?
For Danica Patrick, racing at Indianapolis is nothing new. She ran the Indy 500 7 times. But for the Brickyard 400, this is her first go, and her goals and expectations are much different. Stay out of trouble and finish the race. The team says a top 25 would suffice. Alan?
400 miles to a treasured trophy. Remember, there's often trouble in the early laps, quite frequently in turn 2. Pace car heads in. Ryan Newman, the Indiana native, on pole position, bringing the field down for the start at Indianapolis. Lap 1, Newman, Edwards, Johnson, Hamlin, and Kurt Busch. Side by side for 6th. For a second, Stewart trying to find a way to get around Montoya, 14 and 42.
We saw a lot of drivers taking some chances trying to get down to that bottom. They did not want to be up in that second groove on that first lap.
Definitely one to keep an eye on today. That's 78, Kurt Busch. Here's Jimmy Johnson for second, around Carl Edwards.
Yeah, we saw Johnson on the start. He didn't get started off well. He thought that he could slip into second, but he wasn't even going to contest Carl Edwards for that second spot early on just so he could get to the bottom.
Right, you just want to take a chance early in the race. Looks like Johnson does have a better car. He may even be faster than Ryan Newman, but he didn't want to take a chance in those early laps of dinging it up.
Weather conditions, this racetrack being so sensitive to track temperature change, how much are these drivers just feeling things out tentatively in these opening laps?
Yeah, I think definitely, because this is a very cool day, maybe the coolest that we've ever seen here at the start of one of these Brickyard 400s. And but they also, Ryan Newman pointed this out early on in an interview, that even though the temperature is not there, you still have the sun beating down, and it's going to make this racetrack slick. So they're filling it out to see exactly what grip they have right now.
I'll tell you one thing, the motors are making good power. These cars are running really fast. 49 flat a first lap, time lap for Ryan Newman.
Trying to make up some ground, Martin Truex in the 56. Terrible qualifying run yesterday. Started way back in the pack. 38th place. Passing Danica Patrick there for 31st.
Yeah, and this is a driver that's going to need to pass as many cars as he can. We talked about how tough it is to pass here, but they're going to have to do that, possibly even a little strategy on their part to try to work themselves into a position for a good finish here today.
'93 Travis Kvapil. Dark-colored car there, giving up a spot to Bobby Labonte, 47. Kvapil had a crash in practice. They repaired the car, had a terrific qualifying run, and started this race in the 22nd position after crashing the car just a couple of hours before qualifying.
Yeah, that thing looks pretty nervous to me watching it go around here right now. I know he didn't want to be up there in the top of that groove, but this looks like he's really having to work the steering wheel a lot, and to get around here, see Truex picking up another spot going around Danica.
Newman, Johnson, Edwards, and Kurt Busch. And I mentioned that 78 car, Kurt Busch, and we jumped off to see Jimmy Johnson pass for second, but here's a driver and a team. We talk about Indianapolis demanding the most from driver and team in this Furniture Row Racing based out of Colorado instead of the Charlotte area like most others. You don't consider one of the power teams of the sport, but better keep an eye on this driver and team today.
This driver will give this team an opportunity to win today. And Andy, what you talked about in the opening, is his crew up to the task of keeping them in position to win?
Well, that's going to be the question. I think Todd Barrier is one of the most creative crew chiefs in the garage area, and I think that he has engineered a really fast car, but they haven't executed on pit road and in these races enough to get to the end where they have a chance to win.
So Kurt running in 4th position right now, and 3.5 seconds behind the leader. There's Denny Hamlin in 5th and Tony Stewart in 6th.
Pretty tight here so far in the center. Turns in good. The exit's okay once I get it rotated.
Tight for folks that aren't regular auto racing viewers means the front end of the car doesn't grip as much as the back end does.
And probably part of that at least has to do with being in traffic, not getting all the air to the front end.
Yeah, and you can see from that shot, he had a lot of wheel input, a lot of turn, and then when he came off the corner, it got just a little bit free, and that can really make a bad situation worse because you've got a car that's tight, and then it's sliding the rear tires off the corner.
Right there,
yeah.
He got right to the tail of that 11 car. He lost the nose and really had to fight that car to keep it out of the wall.
Little trash on the grill of the race leader, Ryan Newman. His team will keep an eye on their temperatures, and we'll keep an eye on them. South Bend's Newman started on pole, has led all of the laps so far, but it's very early at Indy. Race fans, think you know something about speed? Buckle your seatbelt and play AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge. Text FAST to 34763 and predict you'll have the fastest times in today's race. Brought to you by the nation's fastest 4G LTE network, AT&T. Rethink possible. In the early going at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the 20th running of the Brickyard 400, Ryan Newman has led all of the laps so far, but some of the front runners, in fact all of the top 3, have picked up some wrappers and things on the grills of their car.
These first few laps, there's a lot of trash that just lay in different places. These cars stir up a lot of air. You can see a hot dog wrapper getting on Carl Edwards' grill right there.
Yeah, we got a big piece of trash on ours now. Copy that. We'll take a look at it. Just keep your eye on your water. 78's willing to do it. Like I said, it's 20 behind him now. So whatever you got to do, he's willing to not run away from us until we get it off. We're giving him a spot.
Yeah, what they're talking about there is if Carl can, basically they'll come up to Carl. If Carl will give him a spot, help him get that trash off the grill. But the exchange is going to be the spot.
So the 78 car get in front of the 99. 99 will pull up on the back bumper of the 78 and use that air vacuum to hopefully allow that debris that's pressed on there by the air pressure now to fly off.
Yeah, that's if he needs it. It's pretty cool outside like we talked about, so this may not be a problem right now. It could become a problem later, especially we heard a lot of teams real concerned about the grass. Cars picking up grass in the infield or from that lower line you can see and kicking it up in front of other cars.
trouble for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has come to pit road 12 laps into the race. Jr. gave up 14th position for this stop.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dave?
Alan, his qualifying run wasn't bad, and his record early on wasn't bad. He was just a little bit loose in turn 4, and then he called and he said, guys, I think I have a loose wheel. We need to pit. 4 tires will be changed. He'll put Sunoco fuel in the car for him. He'll now be off sequence. They think it might have been the right rear that was loose, AB.
He's not just going to be off sequence. He's going to be a lap down. That's a big mistake. We talked about mistakes and how they can take you out of contention here.
55-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit at Indianapolis today. By the time Junior gets back up to speed, there goes the leader by him.
Yeah, Andy, I'll ask you a question. We saw from our vantage point here this morning a lot of cars late going through inspection. Could that have something to do with somebody not getting all of their job done?
Well, it obviously can. I hate to speculate on how that happened, but they do have to go through tech, and a lot of times they have to take wheels on and off to change the width of the car. It could be something that gets overlooked. I'm not going to say that's what happened here because I don't know, but still a big mistake to have a loose wheel to start the race.
So Dale Jr. with some early problems in the race. Let's talk about some guys that are moving up in the opening laps and some that are dropping back a little bit as you look back through the top 10. Just outside of it is Kyle Busch, who's moved up 6 positions in the opening laps in the 18 car. Disappointing qualifying run for Kyle on Saturday. Wound up starting in 19th position. Guy who finished runner-up here a year ago, and a lot of folks think will be a factor by the time this day's done.
Yeah, I almost guarantee that he will. What I saw yesterday, he absolutely dominated the Nationwide Series race.
Yeah, he was telling me that his car was just so tight, just wouldn't do anything in qualifying that he wanted it to do. He was obviously very disappointed, but felt like in race trim that this car was very good. And with this car, this Gen 6 car, he felt like that you were going to be able to make passes better than what we have seen here in the past.
So that is Kyle moving up. Now Brad Keselowski, the defending NASCAR Sprint Cup champ, starting in 12th position, had dropped back as far as 17th in these opening laps, but in the last couple of laps has picked up a couple of spots and started to move forward again.
Yeah, I talked to Paul Wolf a little bit last night. He was cautiously optimistic about how they would run today. He feels like that he learned some things. I asked him specifically if they've learned any new things lately, and he said yes, they had, and I'm sure that they're applying them today. But with that comes figuring out a way to race well with it.
Yeah, and talking to Brad over the last few weeks, some of the things that they're doing to these cars to get speed out of them, make them a handful to drive with low air pressure in the start and the restarts and things. And that's something that he's been trying to figure out is, how do I make this go adequately fast enough to not lose a lot of time to the leaders? He said, I know it's going to be a lot better once I get a few laps, the air pressures get built up, then my car is going to be really good, but I can't give up that time.
So there's Keselowski running in 14th position. Scoot back ahead a little bit. Denny Hamlin there, foreground, has lost a few spots in the last few laps. Hamlin was running as high as 6th position, has now fallen back to 10th. Marcos Ambrose there trying to get that spot from him. How about Hamlin, Dave?
Very loose right now, Alan. That is why Denny's been going backwards. They felt pretty confident about their race car. We talked to Denny in Countdown, but that car has been loose and tough to handle on this racetrack.
Yeah, one thing that happens, these cars do not practice in big groups. They practice by themselves. They get their car balanced in clean air, and what happens when these races start, a ton of traffic, and some of these cars just don't drive the way that they predict they will.
So Hamlin, after giving up 3 spots in 1 lap, gave up a 4th spot a lap later, and he finds himself back now in 10th position after starting again up in the top 6. Ryan Newman started on pole, has led every lap so far in the 20th running of the Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series running the Brickyard 400. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. I'd like you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the coverage live today from Indy with 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. Ryan Newman still continuing to lead. Trevor Bayne in the Wood Brothers 21 providing the show here in the last lap or so. Wheeling it.
I'll tell you what. Trevor Bayne is a wheel man. He's going to prove it to you right here. Okay.
Just thought that was out of
You
shape.
thought that was good?
No. He's going to get a chance.
Yeah,
to do it
watch
again.
this corner.
Yeah.
He hadn't lit up yet. Check it out. Smoke in the right rear. That is cool.
Haven't seen that since we had bi-splat tires back in the 80s.
At 100.
And he's still working on Mark.
Yeah. At 100 and whatever miles an hour.
Hadn't lost it in.
Yep. Trevor Bayne running 29th. Mark Martin back 28th in traffic. Danica Patrick there in 30th as well. Update on Dale Jr. just very quickly. 41st place. It is confirmed from pit road, a loose wheel on the 88 car.
You know, we talk about a lot of places, and we talked about being mistake-free to give yourself a chance here. This is just, we are seeing some passing take place, but it's just not like other places where you can have a better car. The tires are going to give you that, as we see him go by Tony Stewart here, but just trying to make up that time, you put yourself in such a hole.
Good call, bud. Good call. Right rear says a little bit loose right there. Just ride it out. Then we get a lucky dog. It's still a long race. That's a great decision to come right there, bud. So it's getting worse real quick.
Sometimes when you have that loose wheel and you're running at these kind of speeds, things
What can
get
happen?
damaged.
Well, what happens is if you have a loose wheel, it can start working on the threads on the studs, and when you replace it, that you can't, the nut will actually get hung up on the bad threads and won't tighten up properly and seat on the wheel. But I'd say Steve Letarte did a good job of selling that. A little bit loose is still loose, in my opinion. I mean, it's still a big mistake.
And the other problem for Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, as crew chief, talked about getting the lucky dog. NASCAR rules, first car a lap down at the caution flag, gets waved around the pace car. Well, the leader, Ryan Newman, started catching the tail end of the field and putting cars a lap down. So now Dale Jr. is the 5th car, 1 lap down.
Yeah, his best scenario would have been a caution not long after that where he could have taken the wave around as these others went to pit road, but probably even getting past that point now.
Joey Logano, 22. Kyle Busch, 18. Brad Keselowski, 2. 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Yeah, we saw a great battle between these two, Logano and Kyle Busch, yesterday at the end of the nationwide race. It was tremendous what they did.
Kyle Busch dominated much of the day. Late caution set up a restart. Logano to his outside. Kevin Harvick behind them both. Kyle had to run in hard into turn 1. The car broke loose on him. He rode up into Logano. Somehow Logano and Kyle both saved their cars. Brian Scott went through to the lead, and Kyle had to work hard to get back around Brian Scott. Eventually did, and scored the win. Martin Truex pitting from 25th place, Vince.
Well, they picked up 13 positions since the start of the race, but he said the car's just too loose with no left rear drive. 4-tire change. They made a wedge adjustment and some air pressure change as well.
So Truex, the winner at Sonoma on the road course earlier in the month of June. Now headed back out. Denny Hamlin headed to the pit lane.
You can see some of these cars short pitting, like these two that were not handling very well. Good chance to get in here just a little bit early and get this work done. Maybe they can make up some ground if the caution doesn't come out. Dave?
And they told Denny, we will bring you in just a little bit early. This is about 5 laps ahead of when many people had said they would pit for the first time today. So they plan to make a pretty major adjustment. The car loose enough so that he lost 6 positions during the first portion of this race. He'll get a full load of Sunoco fuel. It will be a track bar adjustment. They'll change 4 tires for Denny and try to do it quick enough so he doesn't lose any more time to the field.
You try to help your driver out in a couple of respects there, in that you're trying to make this car better, trying to keep him from crashing and putting yourself in a big hole because the car's that loose. Things can happen there, and they're not too worried if the caution should come out. They know that everybody else will be on pit road. They can take that wave around, get back on the lead lap, put them behind, but it's a better scenario.
Gonna have a whole pile of cars coming to the pit lane here under the green flag. Doc?
Marcus Ambrose in on pit road. They will change right side tires. Actually do a 4-tire change, make a chassis adjustment. It's a little bit tight coming up off the corner. Got to get it full of Sunoco. Left side tires going on. Ambrose hoping to have a good run at the Indy Vince.
Kevin Harvick in the 29 just won't turn to the center and then way too loose off. 4-tire change and a chassis adjustment for Harvick.
Jimmy Johnson pitting from second place, Carl Edwards pitting from third, Kurt Busch from fourth. Newman stays on the track and continues as the race leader. Doc?
Aside from temperature going up with debris on the grill, Jimmy hasn't said a whole lot, but they wanted to make sure the car did not get aero loose in traffic. Right side tires are on, left side going on. Looks to be a great pit stop. Less than 12 seconds. He dropped it 12.8. Hey.
Carl Edwards will take his full load of Sunoco fuel and 4 tires. They're not going to make any major adjustments, just a slight air pressure change. Carl called the handling average. He said he was a little bit free off of turn 1. Jamie.
Casey Kane in his pit box, not saying a whole lot about his car yet. He's pretty happy with the balance. 4 tires here and Sunoco fuel.
Danica Patrick saying the car has just been way too tight. Just doesn't feel like it's on the track, and then it's just tight, doesn't want to turn the corners. 4 tire change, air pressure adjustment as well, trying to get Danica a little bit more comfortable in that 10 car.
More leaders coming in. Newman stays out another lap. Montoya, Stewart, Kenseth, all on the pit lane here. Here's Tony. Dave?
Tony Stewart started in the 5th position. He's still running 5th, Alan. He said the car turns once I get it rotated, so you see the chassis adjustment being made there to help him turn a little bit sooner perhaps and get better control of that 14 car. Jamie.
And Matt Kenseth in his pit box saying he's loose in and loose off, and it was getting worse, that he just couldn't get off the corners the way he wanted. They filled him up. 4 sticker tires for Matt Kenseth.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., his car would not turn when he put the throttle to it and exiting the corner, so the crew will go to work. He'll get a 4 tire and fuel change.
And Ryan Newman started on the pole for the first time in almost 2 years, led the first 30 laps of this race, saying the car is pretty good. He was a tick free and it was getting a little bit worse. They were happy to come in. You see the chassis adjustment track bar there. It'll be 4 tires. They filled him up. They wiped the grill. As they continue to work, the 24 of Jeff Gordon is in. He says he felt like he was on ice. He wanted to come in earlier. The car just going away. Needed some adjustments. Tight in the middle and loose off is what Jeff Gordon was complaining about. Doc?
And yesterday's winner in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, Kyle Busch, on for his first pit stop. He said the car had been really, really loose off of turns 1 and 2. Kyle has made a 4 tire change, a slight chassis adjustment, air pressure, he's away.
There's the 2011 winner, Paul Menard, on and off the pit lane. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski are the top 2, along with Jamie McMurray. They've not pitted yet, all 3 heading onto the pit lane now. And that mistake file, a pit road speeding penalty here at Indy, and having to do that pass through under the green, that'd be pretty big.
Yeah, that's a big penalty. You'd have to come down this long pit road a second time. Dave?
Penske Parade leading down pit road right there. Here's the 2012 champion Brad Keselowski. He was running in the 14th position. He said I'm a little bit free on the gas, and the track is getting slick. There'll be a track bar adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Brad Keselowski.
And Joey Logano, thrilling finish yesterday in the Nationwide race, finished 3rd, saying the car is just a little bit loose. Hearing that a lot today. 14.8 seconds. It was a 4 tire stop again for Joey Logano.
And there's your new leader on the exchange of pit stops.
I was wondering if we'd see this because the times had fallen off. They were about 2.5 seconds off of what the fastest lap was, so they were giving up a lot of time to these new tires.
Yeah, they were, and the 2 laps that he pitted early has made that time up on the racetrack for him. Got him the lead.
Jimmy Johnson was 2.8 seconds behind Ryan Newman before the exchange of pit stops. Now he's 2.8 seconds ahead of him by that 2-lap swing.
We're in Indianapolis now for the Sprint Cup Series race, but it is a busy weekend of racing. The finals for the NHRA Sonoma Nationals are tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN2. Then next weekend, the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets to stand alone in Iowa, Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. And 1 week from now, we are in Pocono. Next Sunday, noon Eastern on ESPN. Jimmy Johnson won there just a few weeks ago, and guess what? Who's leading now? Jimmy Johnson out front at the Brickyard. He's the defending winner here and going for 5 Brickyard 400 titles. Inside the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio, we've moved inside away from the yard of bricks. The word of the day so far has been loose, whether it's loose conditions in the car or a loose wheel, which is hit Dale Earnhardt Jr. on lap 13.
Yeah, and there could be a lot of reasons for that. We don't know exactly what it is, but one of the things that they have done to the Gen 6 cars, they've added a lot of rear end camber back in there. Now with spacers and things like that, it puts a lot of force on that right rear wheel. So I have seen things that were tight actually come loose with that much force on them.
Right now, he's in 10th. It could certainly benefit from a caution if it came out right now. Every single car that came down pit road just a few minutes ago, every single one of them complained, loose, loose, loose. It's like an ice skating rink out there.
Yeah, but one thing you got to remember, Nicole, is that we've got a real cool racetrack right now compared to what these guys have practiced on. So you get cold temperatures. Sometimes it really changes the balance of the car. In this instance, it's made the cars looser. It's really pinned the nose of the cars. The cars are getting loose, and they're having to come in here and adjust on them and tighten them up. Look, they'll get it fixed, but this is just the initial problem right now. A lot of times we hear loose. A lot of times we hear tight. Today, tight is the deal early.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we're seeing a lot of these race cars, too. Think about this now. We're talking about these cars being very loose, getting into the corner. The speeds are up with these race cars as they enter into turn 1, turn 2. They're really rolling off down the corner. The motor, it's nice and cool day, making a lot of horsepower. Might be getting in there just a little bit too hot.
Sometimes loose is fast. You do know that.
Absolutely. Trevor Bain was skating that thing around.
You hit the key word. It's cool out there today. We did have to check and confirm. It is actually July in Indianapolis, Alan. It may not feel like it, but it is.
Yeah, 71 degrees. It was like 90 for this race a year ago. But these drivers, teams, and fans will sure take it today as we watch Kevin Harvick, 29, and Brad Keselowski in the 2 race for 15th and 16th place.
Watching this 2-car some as we watch out the back of Kevin Harvick's number 29 Chevrolet. But see if Keselowski was able to make some speed early on in this run and keep himself kind of attached to that instead of losing so much time. I think they made it better for him, even though he came in pretty much right behind his teammate Joey Logano, and he's lost a little bit of touch with him, probably about 20 car lengths behind him and 2 cars in between him.
And for that 29 car just in front of him, really a solid start to the race. When we talked to Kevin in NASCAR Countdown, Vince mentioned to him, he'd won the race from the pole here back in 2003, but today he was starting back in 24th place, and Harvick has moved, as you see, all the way up to 15th position, slowly, steadily chipping his way toward the front.
And we see the 11 car there. He's going the other way. Had a good starting spot, good qualifying effort yesterday. Denny Hamlin not happy with his race car. I think part of this looseness that I was talking to these drivers about, it's a different left side tire than what they had been running. And even though it's supposed to be softer, it may be helping that car rotate for some of these a little bit more, but something's making these cars extremely loose. Could just be the sheer speed of this car.
Well, we're seeing in this situation right here, that 11 car pitted about 5 laps sooner than the 2 cars behind him, and that's one reason he's a little bit slower. Looks like Brad Keselowski ran right up behind that group, and then he can't seem to get by.
Group here racing for 21st and back. Neon car 51, A.J. Allmendinger in 21st. 22nd is Martin Truex, again continuing to try and pick up some spots.
Yeah, Truex is one of those early in the pits, too, taking advantage of that opportunity, and he's moved forward. Teammate Clint Boyer, all of these MWR cars that we've seen to be so strong all year, really struggling here at Indy this weekend.
And you saw pit in 14th, currently 25th. So since the green flag pit stop for Clint Boyer, things have gone a little sideways for the man who came in second in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship.
Speaking of sideways, Greg Biffle was just off of that corner right there, struggling with his Ford today.
Jimmy Johnson has never lost this race at Indianapolis when leading more than 1 lap. He's led 9 now, but Ryan Newman's right there. Visit Chevys.com to learn all about the all-new Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead. Tony Stewart's having to be strong because he's locked in a very tight fight for position. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all in a knot with some lap cars right there as well.
BK cars up there in front of those fours holding them up.
Yeah, I see that.
They've been bouncing off one another. It's kind of entertaining, but now they're including us. I'm not happy.
Bob Jeffrey, Tony Stewart spotter.
All fun and games if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah. Watch this a lap ago from Tony Stewart. Racing Juan Pablo Montoya.
Had his hands full right there.
Yeah, did you see how low Tony was, though? He was down on that concrete, actually below the concrete in the middle of the corner.
And when you hear drivers and teams talk about grass getting kicked up on the grill, that's how it happens. Still this knot from third place. Working around David Ruderman in the 83 car and taking a spot for Montoya.
That's it, waiting for the right opportunity right there. See what Smoke did as Montoya was going past the lap car. He had to check up just a little bit. Didn't get that run off. Tony Stewart there ready to pounce, took advantage of that.
Carl Edwards, third place by Dave Blaney in the 7, by Travis Quapple in the 93, both not on the lead lap.
I think Carl looks like his car may be a little bit on the loose side too. It took him a long time to dispose of those lap cars up there. He ran behind them and let all of these cars bunch up, and a lot of anxious moments for these drivers.
And we talked about how difficult the competition is here and how demanding the track is as those two lap cars go side by side. When you have that guy in front of you have to hesitate for just a second, you've got to pounce. You've got to be aggressive, right?
Yeah, you got to be ready. It is so difficult to pass here, but we're seeing a lot of it taking place here today. But you have to be ready. Whenever he has to get out of the throttle just that split second, you have to be ready to take advantage of that.
Real tight off now behind these guys. Yeah, it's like real tight, and if I get it turned, it's spinning out, man. This is crazy.
I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to let it fly. But these drivers and teams do not get out in practice and race around each other anymore. I don't know why they're so surprised whenever their cars don't handle when they get in the race. And Jeff Gordon was there whenever we used to do it back in the 90s. And I'm not saying everything has to be the way we used to do it, but it makes sense to get your car out around other cars because you're going to be in that position more than you're going to be by yourself.
Now you saw Jeff wave Dale Jr. in the 88 by him. Dale Jr. did make a green flag pit stop while we were away in the commercial break, so he has gone back a lap down. Jr. in 32nd place, but has fresher tires than these guys. He's running around. Now for Jr., needs the race to stay green, have all these other leaders make a green flag pit stop, and then hope the caution comes out before he needs to stop again.
Yeah, because he's not even really close to that free pass spot, so trying to get himself into that's going to be difficult. He's going to need a break just at the right time.
You talk about how these cars are ill handling, and one thing that's happened, this new car has got a lot of rear camber. We heard Ray talk about it earlier. And what that does, it kind of locks down the rear wheels, but when the car is tight and you force it to turn, it can lose grip. Those rear tires give up grip real quickly once they do, and it can really make it a handful. You can see Jeff struggling with his car.
Yeah, talking to these drivers before we got ready to cover the Cup season, a lot of the things that they're doing to make speed, and obviously speed's a big deal here at Indy, the things that they're doing that makes that speed, makes these cars not drive so good. And so they're a handful, and when you add that speed and well over 200 miles per hour entering these corners, it's a handful.
While we've been watching all that good racing from third on back, haven't missed a thing up front. Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman basically running like they were when they came off pit lane after the stops a while ago. The second running of the Brickyard 400 featured a terrific duel between Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. And after a late exchange on a pit cycle, it was Earnhardt who ran out to the checkered flag. They didn't kiss the bricks then, but a somewhat younger crew chief by the name of Andy Petrie was part of that celebration. Great memory, huh?
That was fun, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you what, looking at that old shot of that 2-car following that 3-car, it just brings back a lot of memories, guys. I mean, this place can really rip your heart out. There's no doubt about that. Led that race all day long, and then got beat at the end by Earnhardt. And they had to wait a solid year to come back to try to do it again. And Ray, this place will kill you, it really will. And it's just a terrible day, but a good day, finishing second.
Rusty, you got held up on pit road, right? You came down pit road for a stop and had to hit the brakes for a second around a car.
Well, that one, pit road problem, I've come down. That happened. You know, a guy pulled out in front of me, then a tire rolled out in front of me, and Earnhardt got in front of me, Alan, and then the aerodynamic push kicked in, and I just couldn't get around it. But you know what? He was just really, really good that day, and I'm not going to take anything at all away from Dale Earnhardt Sr. I got beat that day, man.
I was going to say, I remembered it like we beat him out of the pit. I don't know how it happened.
That didn't happen, Andy.
So this race has run as long under green as it has since that day. That day they ran the first 132 laps without a caution flag. Well, today, second longest green flag stretch to start a race, and another round of pit stops beginning, Dave.
Jeff Burton was running in the 17th position. He really didn't think his car was going to be that bad today, so they'll continue to try to work their way forward. He's got a wedge adjustment for a car that right now still won't turn in the corners. 4-tire change for Burton.
Burton heading back out onto the racetrack as Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman continue to run about 0.6 of a second apart.
Yeah, Jeff Burton has a kind of a stand-in crew chief. Matt McCall on the box. Luke Lambert burned his eyes yesterday, and he can't be out on pit road, so he's in the hauler trying to help. We see a bunch more cars now coming to pit road.
Last time Johnson pitted before Newman. This time Newman pitting while Johnson stays on the track. Vince?
And there you see the chassis adjustment on the car of Martin Truex Jr. Says it's just landing on the right rear and will not turn. It's a 4-tire change for the 56 of Truex. Dave?
27 car of Paul Menard will be on pit road now. Loose in and off the corner is the call by the driver. Track bar is the call by the crew chief. 4-tire change for Paul.
And Ryan Newman's 39 car has gotten a little bit better, just saying he was a little bit tight in. We're hearing the word tight more often. You see the wrench in the back window. Chassis adjustment once again. They'll fill him up with fuel, put some tape on that grill, jack up the left side, 4 sticker tires. Let's go to Vince.
The 29 of Kevin Harvick got better after the last adjustment, but still way too loose on exit. They're going down 2 rounds on the track bar. 4 Goodyear tires and filling it up full of Sunoco fuel. It's getting a little bit better for Harvick, but it's not there yet.
Jimmy Johnson will pit from the lead. Here's Denny Hamlin in. Dave?
Still not the car that he would like. He says, I've got nothing to work with here. Crew chief Darian Grubb asking him to remain patient. The car is still loose. They'll make another, looks like air pressure and wedge adjustment and a 4-tire change. Doc?
Chassis adjustment, right rear, 4 tires. Jimmy Johnson catching out set. The track's going to get looser. We're going to keep chasing it. Johnson's away.
Yeah, Johnson's going to have lost some time there. He had to come around the car, really impeded his progress into his pit area, which I think is probably going to slow everything down. Ryan Newman will probably be ahead of him.
Yeah, but the crew did a great job of the pit stop. Jamie?
And Kurt Busch all race has been saying he doesn't have front grip. Now he's saying the rear end was sliding around. He said, and we're getting worse as we run in traffic. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, put some wedge in, up on the track bar, 4 tires. Let's go to Doc.
Eric Almirola said the car had been dragging the splitter. Brad Parrott making a major adjustment here, air pressure-wise. 4 tires, and the famous 43's away. Vince.
For Danica Patrick, the car has just been way too loose. They're going down 1 round on the track bar, giving her 4 fresh tires and Sunoco fuel. Danica just in traffic, and the car just not handling comfortably. A lot of drivers facing that. Dave?
Carl Edwards has maintained that 3rd place position. He'll get a track bar adjustment for a car that he describes as a little loose in and off, but it's only half a round. So a very small adjustment after just an air pressure adjustment on the first run. Jamie?
Casey Kane started this race loose, then after that first pit stop, he said he got a little bit tight, so the handling went away a little bit more. 4 tires here, air pressure, they'll fill them up with fuel. Wipe the grill on the way out.
Juan Pablo Montoya, the leader, not yet having pitted. Now he comes to the pit lane. And Jeff Gordon will take over the race lead on this exchange. Doc?
Here's Montoya. You remember they tested here back in early July. They thought they would have a really good car here. Chassis adjustment, half a round up, right side track bar. 4 tires, being very deliberate. Don't want to make any mistakes. They take mistakes on pit road, cost them to win. Dave.
Tony Stewart on this run, just a little bit free off of the corner. He's already received a track bar adjustment. He got 4 fresh tires and a full load of Sunoco fuel, AB.
Did you see that pit time on Stewart?
Yeah.
Stop.
I did 11.8. What a stop.
Came in behind Montoya, out in front of him.
So Steve Addington will be very pleased with the work of his team there. He talked about it being a team effort. And Tony Stewart going to get around Juan Pablo Montoya on the pit lane. Jeff Gordon leads, Matt Kenseth second, Kyle Busch third, Joey Logano fourth, Brad Keselowski fifth. Those the 5 that have not pitted under this cycle. 32 cars slow on the front stretch. Timmy Hill off the pace. We'll see if he's able to make it back around and keep us under the green flag.
from somebody that knows if you happen to be out of gas, it's a long way back around here. You might not make it.
Yeah, I remember one of those, a certain 88 car.
Yeah.
Let's get your fuel pump pieces ready.
Sounds like it might
Can you fire it back up or not?
Working on it.
But a fuel issue for this 32 car.
So if you're Jeff Gordon, you're trying to dive. Yep, caution out. There you go. That makes that point.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
Huge, huge break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. As for Junior, he was on the lead lap in 14th place when the yellow waved. That's going to get him back into the hunt for a good finish in this race.
Yeah, definitely a big break for him. It was a bad break for a few other ones. Harvick, Burton, Ambrose had all pitted, lost a lap. They'll have to take a wave around. When Jeff Gordon pits. It depends on how these cars stack up when they.
So there's my next question to you is for Jeff Gordon, the leader. Is this a good break or a bad break?
Well, it's going to cost him track position. He has to pit under caution. He'll line up behind basically all the lead lap cars that stay out here. So it wasn't necessarily a great move or a great break for him.
He was behind most of those cars anyway. He wasn't running in front of them, so probably okay. Gives them time to work on this race car a little bit.
So first yellow flag of this race comes out as we're almost 150 miles into it. And how difficult and demanding this racetrack is on a driver, DJ, they've all got to be going, whoo.
Yeah, you're ready for a break at some point in time, and especially as we've seen these cars really sliding around, heard a lot of issues with the handling of these cars. They were needing some time, and of course those ones that have already pitted, they're going to have to wait till another time if they needed to make some major adjustments, but for the driver, it's a nice break to kind of catch your breath.
So Gordon Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski were the 5 that had not pitted in this cycle of stops yet. And we have 14 cars on the lead lap at this point.
It's going to be significant on who is in front and behind Jimmy Johnson, because he should be the car that stays out on the racetrack. He'll be inheriting the lead, and the cars in front of him will be able to get the wave around and come around the racetrack. If there's anybody trapped behind Jimmy, that'd be in trouble, not be able to get that lap back.
Pit road wasn't open that time, by the way.
Right. Will be next time. So first yellow out for Timmy Hill's car that has now come back around but was without power. You heard Frank Stoddard, the owner, saying, and crew chief, saying to Timmy on the radio if he could fire it up and cycle it around, and we'll see what happened to the 32. David Stremme had spent a little bit of time behind the wall in the 30 car. He is back on the racetrack 9 laps down. So while we wait for the pit road to be opened and the cars to come around, take a minute to remind you that tonight on Sunday Night Baseball, a battle between 2 first-place teams, Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals, taking on Freddie Freeman and the Braves. And tomorrow night at 7, AL West rivals squaring off. Mike Trout and the Angels facing Adrian Beltre and the Rangers. Both games on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. Beautiful 72-degree afternoon at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 20th running of the Brickyard 400. And we're under just the first caution of this race. Ryan Newman led the opening run of the race on the first green flag pit stops. He and Jimmy Johnson exchanged first and second. Johnson led the second run of the race. Now just after the second set of green flag pit stops, we get this first yellow. And Johnson, Newman, Edwards, Stewart, Montoya, the first 5 who have stopped, but they're behind 5 others who are going to stop right here. Marcos Ambrose, the free pass on this caution. He'll get back on the lead lap as well. And a pit road. Doc.
Kyle Busch loves the race car, and Dave Rogers likes the lap time. It's going to be 4 tires, track bar adjustment, air pressure. They said, tighten me up a little bit more. Jamie.
And Jeff Gordon was complaining about his car earlier, but he said, guys, I figured out what to do in traffic. You see the chassis adjustment there, 4 tire stop for Jeff Gordon. Meanwhile, Matt Kenseth, loose in, loose off. The changes didn't help him last time. They're going to go back on those changes. He said, I need some help. They did just that. Joey Logano in the 22, air pressure adjustment down on the track bar. He too is loose. Good stops for all.
That was close between Gordon and Kenseth on the pit lane, wasn't it?
See Kenseth crew gaining a spot there. Slow stop for Joey Logano.
Now, only 6 cars pitted there, so no great sense of urgency if you need to make some adjustments and take some time to work on it.
Yeah, a little surprised Tony Stewart was back on pit road there, though. Must be a strategy involved.
Came down and topped off the fuel. Remember, we saw him shutting it off and saving gas under that caution, so maybe Steve Addington thinks they're in a window.
Look at the brake dust.
Hard-working crews at a very difficult and demanding Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a race that ran caution-free through its first 150 miles. Back live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway under the first caution of the Brickyard 400. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Jimmy Johnson, the leader after the stops have cycled around. Time for unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series with NASCAR Mobile 13 and unlimited talk, text, and data on the Sprint Network. Tony Stewart's team with the fastest pit stop and under green, too. How about that number? 11.7 seconds. Great job by them. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with the NASCAR Mobile 13 app. Join the family with unlimited My Way plan guaranteed for life and only from Sprint. See sprint.com speed for details. Don't forget the slash. Tony Stewart, our ESPN in-race reporter, pitted under this yellow after pitting under the green. He sits in 11th place.
Hey, Tony, Dale Jarrett, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I know you're at 1 to go, but got just a second quickly. How's your car out there? And your pit crew made a great stop under that green flag.
Yeah, we're a little bit tight to the center and a little bit free back to the gas, but you know, we got a pretty good car here. And we seem like we were better in traffic than some of these guys, so we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
All right, man. Thanks for talking. Good luck.
Tony Stewart in 11th position. Free pass Marcos Ambrose. Cars that stayed out and did not pit under the caution that were between the pace car and the new leader Jimmy Johnson. Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, Paul Menard, and Martin Truex Jr. all back on the lead lap.
It looked like Greg Biffle and A.J. Allmendinger were the ones that got trapped a lap down.
So 96 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson cycling back to the lead. Ryan Newman to his outside. And a total of 21 cars on the lead lap. Here we go. Edwards looking on Johnson for the lead. Newman slipping back, second to fourth.
Well, Johnson drove it hard into turn 2 to try to keep Carl Edwards back there, made it work.
I'll tell you, somebody else aggressive on that restart was Tony Stewart. Trying to steal some spots right off the bat.
Matt Kenseth, yellow 20, on the move, trying to get a spot from Montoya. Kenseth the fifth.
Oh, see Kurt Busch really loose right there and trying to make that past Montoya. Stewart's going to the outside to take a spot. Andy, I'm sure Steve Addington really hated to put Tony behind some of those cars, but man, it makes you feel good when you see your driver go make those spots up that quickly.
Yeah, it can help you make that decision. You know he's going to go out there and get them back that quick. He had a plan when that green came out.
So Tony Stewart 11th to 7th on the restart. Talked about before the race, both the countdown folks and you gentlemen, that you've got to be aggressive when you get one of these restarts. And boy, we saw some aggression there.
No, we did, and the competition's just so close that you have to really take advantage of those opportunities to make passes, get yourself in position.
Now going the other way on that restart, right here, Ryan Newman, 39, right? He started outside of Jimmy Johnson going into that first corner. By the time they came out of turn 2, he was fourth.
Yeah, you kind of a sit and duck in that situation on the outside, going into turn 1, and you got an immediate, another turn 2, and you're caught on the outside, you lose all that time down the straightaway, and you can lose a lot of spot.
Yeah, you're kind of in a catch-22 situation as a driver right there. You know you want to get down, so does that mean you ease out just a little bit, trying to get in behind the leader, or do you race him down in there and try to go as fast as you can, hoping that you can outrun or outbreak that third-place car? Really puts you in a bad spot.
Casey Kane in the 5, as high as we've seen him all race long. Third place, chasing Carl Edwards for second.
Saw this 5 car be really fast the last time that they had tires. Looks like they've made another adjustment, but he fell off during that run. Let's see if they've got this car where it's not only fast, but will continue to be good for Casey throughout a fuel run here.
Now, one thing that happened in that run, he got trapped behind some lap cars and other cars that were trying to race by lap cars, and I think his car got into an aero situation that it wasn't happy with. He's in a lot cleaner air now. Looking for a way around Carl Edwards.
And you see Carl kind of protect that inside. He's trying not to let Casey Kane get that advantage of being able to even sneak a nose to the inside of him.
You're behind the wheel. Are you aware as a driver that a guy was not as good on the longer run as he was on the shorter run and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm sure that they've been told that this 5 car was really fast, so you know that. So you're going to try to keep him back there for a little bit and then see if you're able to pull away from him maybe.
So Edwards protecting second for now. Kane hanging on to third. Carl saw on that wheel.
Yeah, he's driving this thing really down into the corner, extremely hard.
And while they're racing for second, it's allowed Jimmy Johnson to put a little bit of a gap on him on the restart. The 4-time winner out in front in search of a 5th, but we're still shy of halfway at the Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series running the 20th edition of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Our telecast today presented by Golden Corral. We're coming up on the halfway mark of the race. A race that's only seen one caution flag. Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman have done most of the leading. Race fans, think you know something about speed? Buckle your seatbelt and play AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge. Text FAST to 34763 and predict who'll have the fastest times in today's race. Brought to you by the nation's fastest 4G LTE network, AT&T. Rethink possible.
You see there, Ryan Newman worked his way by Casey Kane.
There's another one of those situations where Casey Kane was trying to make a pass. He was up on Carl Edwards. He got a little bit wide and probably an aero situation. Coming out of turn 4, had to crack the throttle just a little bit, didn't have that front straightaway speed, and Ryan Newman took advantage of that and took that third spot.
So Newman, who started on the pole, led the first 28 laps of this race, gave up the lead on an exchange of pit stops when Jimmy Johnson, who ran second for those first 28 laps, pitted 2 laps before Newman. The difference in speed on those tires put Johnson in front of Newman. Ryan's not been able to reclaim the lead since. He was running second on this last restart. When he got wide, fell back to 4th, and now he's trying to make up the lost ground.
Got a solid car, though.
Yeah. And of course, the story on Newman is that he is going to be looking for a ride for next season.
Well, it'd be nice to put on your resume, the Brickyard 400 trophy.
And here comes his boss working his way forward. Tony's got a good race car. I tell you what, it's nice to see these Stewart-Haas cars have this kind of speed. That's something they've been lacking for part of this first part of the year. They've been working extremely hard with these race teams, and today's evidence of that.
Tony Stewart started this race from 5th position, had been in the cycle with the leaders and made a green flag pit stop. Just before that, first and only yellow came out. He was the only one that came back down pit road under the yellow flag that had stopped under the green. Dave, they gave up a couple of spots, but an aggressive driver and a good car have made up a lot of that ground.
And Steve Addington, getting to know his driver, has made this car much, much better. He said, we were finding speed in the cars, but it wasn't in a way in which Tony liked to get there. It's all about setting the attitude of these cars when they're under compression in the corners. And the way they were getting that was not comfortable for this driver. Steve said once we got it to where Tony was comfortable getting the car to the right attitude, he said that's when we really started landing on things, and that's one of the reasons why he's so good here today.
Hey, get that car getting a good attitude, the driver will get a good one too, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen those be connected before. I'll tell you one thing he has now, he's got about 5 to 6 laps, 7 laps fresher tires than the leaders by making that pit stop, and that will help him some. These tires give up some speed even right away in the first 5 laps, so he might be able to make up some ground.
Good look back through the top 10 here as they come through your frame. Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane.
We were just talking about Ryan Newman. You see, they're still working on Carl Edwards, trying to get that second spot away and being out of a ride looking. This is too talented a race driver not to be in a really good race car. And I know so much of this sport now is dependent upon money and getting that sponsorship, but somebody be missing the boat. A good race team, not putting Ryan Newman. He obviously knows how to get the job done. He has many wins, can go fast and out of the poles, so he'll find himself in a good place.
I'd bet on that too.
See, right there is a perfect example of losing the nose here. Watch the 5 car really gain on him there. But you can see Newman lose the nose of that car being up behind the 99. Cost him a lot of time right there.
Second, third, and fourth. Problem for them is the guy in first. Jimmy Johnson started on the outside of the front row, has led the most laps in this race, trying to score an unprecedented 5th win in the Brickyard 400. Halfway through the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Clint Boyer on pit road, Jeff Burton in trouble, and caution out for the 2nd time in this race for the 31 car.
Where you are, like we do in practice, and we'll meet right behind the wall here. I'm not going to make it that far, dude. I'm going to make it to... I'm just not going to make it that far. Nah, they're coming to get you, bud. They're going to push you.
Jeff had slowed from 17th position just before the yellow and didn't make it back around.
Sounds like a drivetrain issue. That the engine was running, but just nothing to drive the car. Didn't know if it was a transmission or a rear gear. Either way, bad break for Jeff.
Got an update there, Dave?
Yeah, Jeff Burton radioed in. He said, guys, the rear gear is broken for sure. Rear gear is gone, and that should be... They'll probably make the change, but it's a lengthy change.
Very difficult on the 31 car. Jeff Burton off his best finish of the season in the last race at New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, and had high hopes for today here at Indianapolis. So just the 2nd caution of this race came out just as the race crossed its midway point and erased a 2.6-second lead that Jimmy Johnson had. I'm checking to see if Clint Boyer's pit stop in that 15 car was an attempt by Brian Patty to get his driver on and off pit road before the caution was called and maybe steal a little track position, Doc.
Exactly. Brian Prouty known for trying to run some unusual strategies on pit road, but also Clint Boyer's car just not good at all. The car's just been sideways loose, wrecking loose. He said, come in, we're just going to throw the kitchen sink at it so you can figure what kind of adjustments they made, but trying to get him on and off pit road, trying to get him up where he can get some cleaner air and a better race car on this stop.
Boyer not on the lead lap, and maybe he could stay out and take a wave around here by getting on and off pit road and that whole thing. So if it works out for him, give one there to Brian Patty, his crew chief, for quick thinking. Pit road still closed while the tow truck that was pushing Jeff Burton's car clears to a safer area. Gives us a minute to check what's fresh off the wire. Served by KFC. Stories on the day today. Ryan Newman been a factor all race long. Currently running 3rd. Danica Patrick, the first woman to race in this Brickyard 400, is a lap down in 30th place at the moment. Jimmy Johnson looking strong.
He had given up some of that lead. He'd gotten about a 3.5-second lead, and just before the yellow came out, it had shrunk down to about 2.5 seconds. So I don't know what was going on during that run.
I think I do.
What was it?
Just being cautious, saving, not
Chilling out.
putting any more pressure on. He jumped out to a good lead there, and I think he's got a great race car. This guy is just so good, so intelligent behind the wheel, understanding the situation.
Yeah, he was up here in the booth with us yesterday during the Nationwide race, And he observed Kyle Busch have a dominant car just like he does, and the way he managed that lead, never pushing the car once he got about a couple of seconds out on the leader, on the guys running second. Maybe you learned something up here.
Wasn't from us, but
no, but
watching
you
you
can see
say
it.
yeah. Pit stops coming up in the Crown Royal Presents the Samuel Deeds 400 at the Brickyard. The sponsor of the race and the racetrack, honoring a U.S. Marine injured and sacrificing himself in the line of duty, and he has certainly been feted here this weekend in an appropriate way, and very well deserved. Samuel Deeds from Kentucky, and great to have him here at the racetrack.
Yeah, certainly. As we look at this, as they get ready to make these pit stops, for some of these cars, be the first time under caution maybe that they can come in and make an adjustment. That's something that can hopefully get them closer to this 48 car.
20 cars on the lead lap, seeing some strategy there. Logano, Gordon, Earnhardt Jr. not pitting. It's going to keep Boyer from getting that wave around, I believe. Doc?
Track temperature coming down, wind picking up, and track is freeing up. So Jimmy Johnson says, give me more of the same of what you gave me before. It'll be right side tires. They will come around and make that left. No, right side only for Jimmy Johnson.
Hey, right side tires for Carl Edwards as well. He said, do not lock him up. That's how you save those left sides. Jamie?
Casey Kane saying he's a bit looser off this time around, but a lot better behind other cars and in traffic. Track bar adjustment up a half round, 4 tires, and they fill him up. And there's your race off pit road, Alan.
And Andy seeing that 39 just leaving with 4 tires. You talked about if you're the crew chief that makes that call, that's a lot of track position they just gave up.
Yes, it is. And I'm just looking at some of these strategies being played. There's a few cars stayed out as well. Yeah, that's going to cost 39 car.
And Carl Edwards getting off the pit lane ahead of Jimmy Johnson. But again, some did not pit. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, the Penske cars, are going to be running 1 and 2. Back live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, getting ready for the restart of the Brickyard 400 1 lap from now. Our telecast today presented by Golden Corral. An interesting twist of circumstances. Actually, a couple of them under this caution. I called Joey Logano as the leader a minute ago. NASCAR has made the call to put Brad Keselowski in front of him, and it has to do with when Logano and Keselowski made or didn't make their moves to pit road under the yellow.
Yeah, you can see the 2 cars right here. Joey Logano looks like he's going to come down pit road with the rest of these leaders. It looks like Keselowski had decided all along to stay out. He went around Logano, so he has to give that spot up.
And so Joey zooms around and pulls back in front of Brad on the racetrack, but NASCAR said no, you got to maintain your speed, and the new leader of this race is Brad Keselowski.
And I think the captain probably doesn't care either way.
And so while we work our way back around to the restart, let's check in down to the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio with Nicole, Rusty, Brad, and Ray.
Yeah, well, we've got some time. Let's take a look at what's happened so far. We'll get you caught up to speed with our race rundown brought to you by G.I. Joe Retaliation. Let's start with the 88. He was a big story early on because on lap 13, he had the loose wheel. Went a lap down, but he got a lucky caution.
Got a caution, then just put some pit strategy on there. We'll see how it works out, but it's got himself right now in the top 5. Steve Letarte said they had a fast car. Hopefully they can keep it in position.
Trouble for the 31.
31 was running really well, too. Really strong. Something in the drive line broke, obviously. Motor running, but not pulling.
Clint Boyer just really not in it yet today.
Yeah, car's not handling. They haven't got it hooked up yet. They got themselves in trouble, got himself down, and they're working hard to get it back, but they have definitely missed the setup on that 15 car today.
Some strategy there, though, with that 15. They pitted right before that caution came out. Will be interesting to see what they do now, Alan.
It will be, Nicole, and the strategy was that the top 4 in the racetrack did not pit. Keselowski, Logano, Gordon, and Earnhardt Jr. Carl Edwards first off the pit lane with right side tires. The first with 4 tires is Ryan Newman, who falls all the way back to 13th for this restart.
You see Keselowski take that outside. I think this is a teammate move once again. We talked about this yesterday in the race where Keselowski's going to put his teammate Logano in a position where he's down on the inside.
4 wide for a second.
Smoke awful aggressive today.
Look at that. Logano, Keselowski trade the lead. Junior 3rd, Jimmy Johnson up to 4th.
There's Newman. He's the one that got 4 tires on that last caution.
And Tony Stewart on Jeff Gordon there for 5th.
He was 9th on the restart. He was just passing for 5th spot. He knows how to get these spots quickly. I'm really impressed with his restarts today.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers are getting a feel of their race car that they haven't had because they just put 2 tires on it now. What exactly is it going to do?
And Carl Edwards, who was first off the pit lane, shuffled all the way back to 12th in all of that pushing and shoving off this restart. Newman and Kyle Busch, 39 and 18. That was close.
Yeah, Ryan Newman, a great job right there. And I think that 4 tires helped him hang there on the outside and get down in the corner and take that spot away.
Paul Menard, 27. Jamie McMurray, 1. That is for a lead lap spot, 17th and 18th.
Comes Harvick trying to take advantage of McMurray kind of being out of the groove right there for a minute. Harvick getting a little bit of an assist there from Clint Boyer.
He's the first car 1 lap down. Clint Boyer is in that 15.
Yeah, not able to take the wave around, and the whole early call to pit road didn't quite unfold.
Well, he didn't expect to see those cars stay out, so it didn't work out exactly the way he planned, but he is in the spot to get that lap back.
Yeah, and this is in a spot that he hasn't even been in for the rest of the day because they've been struggling with the handling of that 15 car.
Quick mention, A.J. Allmendinger got the free pass at the caution. He's back on the lead lap in 21st place. Newman around Montoya, 8th place.
I like those 4 tires on this 39 car. That thing's extremely fast and has those tires. We'll see if they get a long run here. I believe that'll pay huge dividends to him.
Andy, I'm a crew chief, and I'm watching the way that the tire speed differential is played out, but knowing how critical track position here it is at Indy.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of ground to make up, even though he has a good car. If it does come around for him, I'm afraid he's going to be too far back to really take advantage of it.
And where I was going with that is, I don't want to be the one to have to make that call at the end of the race. You know,
it's tough for sure. And the strategy we see playing out now, these cars that stayed out, they're only going to be able to run about 13 laps past when that last caution came. So they're going to have to come in under green, but they'll be inside a window to make it on one more stop. So they're running this race basically from the back. They want to make sure that they can make as few pit stops as possible. This might be able to steal these guys some track position, even though they will have to pit.
There's Newman around Jeff Gordon. Again, one of the ones who did not pit and is on the older tires. Gordon shuffled back to 7th. Joey Logano is the race leader. Had to give it up to his teammate under the caution flag. He got it back, and he's out in front, but needs to pit soon.
Welcome back to Indianapolis. Jeff Gordon on the radio just moments ago. We're not as good as we think we are. We may have some debris on the grill. You saw right there they grabbed a big handful of tape. They thought it could be grass. It was not. Let's see if this cools the car down, guys, and helps his handling. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. Jeff was due for a pit stop shortly. Now things need to stay green for him to cycle back around as you see the leader, Joey Logano, coming by Gordon as he gets back up to speed.
And he'll have to make one more pit stop, so that's not going to hurt him as far as that goes. He just needs to cycle back around.
Behind Logano, the picture changing just a little bit. New second-place runner, also with some things on his grill. Jimmy Johnson has gotten by Brad Keselowski.
See a little bit of debris, something red, a red wrapper.
So Jimmy to second, Keselowski back to third. And then when you look behind the two, the guy that lost all the track position by taking 4 tires instead of 2 on that last pit stop's made it all up. Ryan Newman.
Oh, I like those 4 tires. It makes my fast car feel good. Ryan Newman's doing a great job with this. You can see he's coming up to Brad Keselowski there. I think this is going to open eyes to a lot of people.
13th to 4th since the restart for Newman. Casey Kane on the move there in this fight for position, picking up a spot from Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch. Another spot for Newman.
Okay, I'm coming around now on the 4 tires.
Here's Logano to pit road. Yep. Race leader and his teammate. 64 laps to go in this one, Andy. 63 when they pit.
Yeah, they should be able to make it on one more stop.
Don't make a mistake here now that you made this strategy bed and get a speeding penalty on the pit lane. Only had one today. Joe Nemechek got tagged for speeding earlier. Dave?
It's been 37 laps since they last stopped. Yeah, there's some cautions in there, but this was the reason they stayed out was because they weren't in a window. It wasn't really a gamble. He'll get a chassis adjustment right now to help his car and 4 tires. Jamie?
Todd Gordon, crew chief on the 22, said he's happy with the tire wear. That's why he kept his driver out to get that track position. Wiped the grill, 4 tires here. They filled him up with fuel. The car needs to turn a little bit better, is the complaint by Joey Logano.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the other one on that cycle of pit stops, and here comes Junior to pit road. So things will come back around, set those guys in need of this race staying green for it all to work out for them.
Give me a little loose.
Wow.
I think that has to do with those 2 tires. These left side tires are a softer compound, which means they'll probably wear just a little bit more.
Dave?
Last time Junior was on pit road, they took a long time to check the left rear studs on that car, make sure nothing was wrong. Remember, he had loose wheels early on. So they checked that. It's been fine this run. Of course, he had to pit for fuel. It was just a little bit snug for Junior.
So Junior, who had pitted under green way back at lap 12 in this race, got a lap down, got a break when he had not yet pitted, and a caution came out, got him back on the lead lap. Now kind of in that same situation again. They've made their strategy here, and they need this thing to run green.
I really like the strategy that you see the 2 car and 22 on. They're in front. They made their pit stop. They're in front of the leader now, Jimmy Johnson. If that caution would happen to come out right now, the situation would be the 2 and 22 stay out. Johnson and the rest of those leaders would come in because they're just inside that window, and they would actually cycle back to the lead. So this is a good move.
You can see right there, Dale Jr. going to be among that group. All 4 of those cars able to stay out in front or come back out in front of Jimmy Johnson. Very important for that group.
Yep, Jeff Gordon was able to pass Johnson on the fresher tires and drive away. And Ryan Newman,
he just keeps chipping away. And I didn't like that move of getting 4 tires and losing all that track position in the beginning, but you did, Dale.
Yeah, I really did. And just because a lot of what I know about the track and the other side of it was talking to a lot of these crew chiefs, they actually told me they didn't foresee putting 2 tires on their race car. I guess the situation changed that, but they were talking about as this track rubbered up more and more, it was going to be hard for them to get a handle on this track, and they were going to need 4 tires pretty much most of the time. Matt Borland with a great call for Ryan Newman there.
Kyle Busch starting to make some hay in that 18 car. He and Juan Pablo Montoya trading a spot there. Here's Marcos Ambrose, Doc.
Right side tires already on. They go around the left side of the car. Car getting better and better for Marcos Ambrose. The racetrack changing. These cars get very, very loose in heavy traffic down and away. He'll need one more stop to make it.
Ambrose had gotten back on the lead lap with a free pass earlier at the first caution of the race that didn't wave until lap 59. Almost, 100 miles into the thing. So a variety of pit stop schedules continuing to shuffle up the running order a little bit. We're not done with that yet, as we are at 250 miles of the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. ESPN's groundbreaking 9 for 9 series continues Tuesday with the untold story of Cheryl Swoops, dominant player on the basketball court, but off the court, Cheryl has had a life full of transitions that defy labels. 9 for 9 Swoops, Tuesday at 8 on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. 150 miles to go at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the 20th running of the Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral. Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman have been dominant today. Johnson has led almost double the number of laps Newman has. He's got a strong car. Brad Keselowski thinks so.
Just have to wonder, Joe, if he ever feels bad about having a car that much better than everybody else every week.
He's on 2 tires and you're undone. We're okay here.
He won't have to go to Jimmy. I can already tell you Jimmy doesn't feel bad about it.
Not at all.
Kozlowski back in 19th after just having made that green flag pit stop. Coming up on another round of green flag pit stops in not all that long for Johnson and Newman and some of the other front runners. As we find the leader right there, looking for a little draft from the 7 car of Dave Blaney, couple laps down. On Pablo Montoya, giving up 8th place for a pit stop. Doc?
He says the car simply will not turn, Alan. He said it will not turn at all. Something 2 laps ago, he had an issue. He said also, I feel like we don't have any power down the front straightaway. How about the 99, Dave?
He gives up 12th place now, Doc. A track bar adjustment for a car that Carl says is free off the wall and then goes tight through the center of the corner. He says also it sounds like there's an exhaust crack or something. So hopefully that won't get any worse for the driver.
Carl Edwards was the first off pit road of those cars that stopped under the caution a little while ago and dropped very quickly. Jimmy Johnson from the lead with 52 laps to go, Doc.
And Jimmy Johnson actually did not like his car with 2 right side tires only. He said the car got tied in and loose off, although he was sounding by people. Jack and Alfred calmly said, we'll come in, put 4 tires on it, and we'll fix it up this time. Either way, Dave.
Doc, Tony Stewart was running 3rd. He also had 2 right side tires only. He asked him what he needed. Crew chief did, and he said it's tight center, it's loose off, but not too alarmed, so that wasn't a bad run on right side tires for Tony.
Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. heading out of the pit lane. Truex, what a nice drive today in that 56 car.
Yeah, coming from 38th, he's done a fantastic job getting himself in a position to get a good finish here today.
How many laps does Matt Borland leave Ryan Newman out there now that Jimmy Johnson's pitted?
I'd say not many. He's not only got that, he's got Logano, who's setting a pretty torrid pace too, with those tires that he had on, along with Gordon and Earnhardt Jr. So I don't think you can stay out there long, Andy.
Now, I'm surprised that they haven't called him in already.
Run on pit road here. Casey Kane, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Paul Menard, and more. Jamie?
And Matt Kenseth in the 20 hasn't quite had the car they expected here all weekend long. They've been working on it, but loose has been the main issue for him. Tear up on the windshield, another chassis adjustment there in a 4-tire stop. Meanwhile, Casey Kane pitted just ahead of him. Casey's car getting better, the team making the right adjustments today. He's comfortable with the car. And the 5 is down, and there goes the 20 and the 78, guys.
On board Ryan Newman on the pit lane. The answer was not long.
Yeah, he can't afford to give up what he had gained right there. He gained all that track position, got right back to Johnson, and doesn't want to give him any opportunity to stretch it back out.
Here he is, Jamie.
It was a dream for Ryan Newman to sit on the pole for the first time in his home track. Led the first 29 laps. Car has been good. He just said a little while ago the balance was good. He was getting just a little bit tight. 4 tires here. They'll fill him up. He's in the #1 pit box. They've been good today, waiting on the fuel. They have to pack it full a little bit longer than they'd like, Doc.
And the former Daytona 500 winner, Trevor Bayne, in right side tires. They will make an air pressure adjustment, right rear chassis adjustment, a little bit tight up off. Trevor having a good day, saying the car actually was much better in race trim than it was when he qualified. They cleaned the grill and he's away.
Jamie McMurray is the race leader for the moment. Ryan Newman will not be anywhere near as close to Jimmy Johnson as he was before that pit stop. Slow stop there on that 39.
Yeah, they had a problem. They didn't get all the lug nuts off on the left front there. You could see as we were showing that pit stop that they actually had to pick the gun back up that he already put down to take the tire off, and cost them a lot of time. We said you can't make mistakes and win this race.
That was a costly one there.
Joey Logano running in 4th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 5th. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch exchanging a position here. That's 15th and 16th with Kyle Busch advancing. So in this cycle of pit stops, McMurray and Denny Hamlin are the 2 that haven't stopped yet. That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse in 23rd place, a lap down before his pit stop, while McMurray, the 2010 winner, continues to log some laps. Should see him soon. With us on Saturday for our coverage of qualifying, Jamie told us his car wasn't very good. At the last second, they put the setup from Juan Pablo Montoya's car underneath his, and he went out for his qualifying lap untried. He didn't do bad. That had to be a little shaky here at Indy. And you see some of the cars on fresher tires just off the pit lane, going by the race leader McMurray. Once McMurray and Hamlin pit, the lead will go back to Johnson, followed by Logano, Earnhardt Jr., and then Ryan Newman. Third caution is just waved here at Indianapolis. Timmy Hill's car has stopped again with no power on the racetrack. And the field coming to pit road with the pit road open. Jamie McMurray, Denny Hamlin, the two that had not stopped under the cycle of pit stops, will come to the pit lane. Question is, how many do behind them of the 22 cars that are on the lead lap?
Just watching for Logano, maybe Keselowski, because they have the most laps on their tires, so they're staying out. Well, it looks like here comes Keselowski. Logano stayed out.
Jeff Gordon, the Busch brothers, Marcos Ambrose, Kevin Harvick in here. Doc?
Kyle Busch said, I have got to come, Dave. I got to get this car to turn. He said, I absolutely cannot get this car to turn. It is plowing. They decided to go forward, and they changed it to only with a chassis adjustment. Trouble with the right rear tire and a lengthy stop. Now they're going to go ahead and put 4 on. Dave.
Doc, his teammate Denny Hamlin not having a very good day as well. He called the right rear teeter-tottering on this run. Darian Grubb told me just before he stopped, the car was both loose and tight, and it's really not much better than it was earlier in the day.
10 cars of the 22 on the lead lap pit, and Kyle Busch still there.
On the track bar down a half round, and I was 3/4 on the right rear spring. All right, there you go.
A little confusion on what they wanted for changes.
Well, they get a second to regroup. Kyle Busch was 14th before the stop. Probably going to be about 22nd for the restart. Mark Martin, free pass under the yellow.
Oh, some happy little campers in the stands at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're under caution here for the third time, so it gives us a chance to look ahead, because next week the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series will be in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, a little track we like to call the Tricky Triangle. It will be Pocono Raceway for tickets to that event and other upcoming races on the schedule. Go to NASCAR.com/tickets. Inside the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio, the word of the day earlier was loose, but if you take a look at the track now, it's definitely gotten a little bit darker, and that's affecting how these cars are handling.
It really has, Nicole. This particular racetrack is very, very coarse, the surface is. It was diamond ground a long time ago. Remember, this is the track that drove Goodyear crazy with the tire debacle a long time ago. What happens in this race is the longer it goes, the track gets really, really black, starts taking a lot of rubber, really makes the cars handle a lot different.
Yeah, they really do. And the left side tires, Rusty and Ray and Nicole, are a lot softer compound that Goodyear brought. And this track is just like a cheese grater. So it's going to take a lot of the guesswork out of it when you come down pit road. You have to get 4 tires. I don't think you can gamble on 2.
So there's guesswork with the 2 versus 4. There's also guesswork and a little bit of strategy, because right now we've got the leader, Jimmy Johnson, on one strategy, and then the guys in second and third, Logano and Earnhardt Jr., on a completely different strategy.
Yeah, and the strategy is nothing but the strategy hasn't affected that guy in the 39. That thing has been fast. It sat on the pole, new track record, sat on the pole here, and he continues to be faster than the 48.
You know, it's been fun to watch. Restarts, and we get another one right about now. Alan?
Yeah, and Nicole, Brad just said it, Tony Stewart. And again, he draws the inside lane. Last couple times we've seen him very aggressive with 3 wide moves after he clears the start-finish line. Watch that car third back on the inside. Jimmy Johnson choosing the outside.
wasn't sure about that choice for Johnson on the outside, but he obviously knew exactly what he was doing and needed right there. Dale Jr. with a great restart from that third spot.
Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart settling out fourth and fifth. First car off the pit lane on the stops was Jamie McMurray. He restarted 12th.
And riding along there with Martin Truex. What a great job he's done in this race team today. Up in the top 10 from 38.
Oh, little shake up there off the corner.
Been an uphill battle for sure for Martin Truex.
Look at this. 4 wide coming down the front stretch.
Keselowski was opted to give up some track position to get on pit road that last time, but doesn't look like these restarts are his friend.
That car's really not been good right off the bat at any run today. It seems like the time that it's the best after they've run about 10 laps. He's getting a lot of spots right now.
Saw Kyle Busch there with the long pit stop, trying to make up some ground. Aric Almirola in the 43.
Not exactly sure why you would have given up that track position to take 2 tires that last time. I would have thought if you're going to get there, get 4, and then on your green flag stop, you could get 2 tires and make up a lot of ground. How about it, Dave?
DJ, do you think they can go 35 laps on fuel?
Yeah, I think so, Dave.
Okay, so, and that's the thing. There's always a number, right? There's always a number that we can do. And I know it's more than 35 to go, but there's always a number you can do if you have caution laps. And Brad radioed to his crew chief. He said, so if we get 20-something caution laps between now and the end, we can make it, right? They've all said, yep. And that may be why.
I haven't seen any evidence that we're going to see that many caution laps today.
We had 1 car to bring out 2 of the cautions with a fueling issue today. I can't understand why you would think you're going to get that.
So Brad Keselowski back in 21st place. Might be as low as we've seen him run the entire race. Johnson, Logano, Jr., Newman, Smoke.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if he's going to make a pit stop, he should have got 4 tires.
I tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with Logano and Earnhardt Jr. here, too. Staying up front in between Johnson and Ryan Newman there. They've got quite a few more laps on their tires, but obviously with good handling race cars and keeping themselves in a position.
3rd place. And a piece of paper as a passenger as he made the pass for Ryan Newman. And a pretty big one, too, across the grill of that 39 car. All right, so some interesting things to play out where laps to go on fuel to the finish are concerned, different pit stop schedules, and still the constant in this race, Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman appear to have the 2 best cars. 19 previous years of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2 drivers have won 4. No driver yet has won 5. Jimmy Johnson leading the most laps in this race today in search of an unprecedented 5th Brickyard 400 trophy. We're 34 laps from the finish in our coverage of the 20th Brickyard 400 telecast presented by Golden Corral, live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jimmy Johnson with a new 2nd place runner behind him. Surprise, Ryan Newman.
Yeah, and he's actually been a little bit faster than Jimmy Johnson here. Now, whether that's Jimmy just taking care of his stuff right now, but 39 car on the march towards the front once again.
Closing, closing, closing. Newman started on pole, led the opening 28 laps. Gave up the lead to Johnson on an exchange of green flag pit stops. Gave up a ton of track position when his team went for 4 tires when a lot of others took 2. charged right back. Now they run 1 and 2. Let's talk strategy. You see the varying numbers on when these leaders last pitted. We just got the story from Dave on Brad Keselowski's team, basically putting themselves in position to try and go the last 42 laps of the race without stopping again, but looking for some caution flags to help them. Johnson, Newman, and so on. My question to you, Andy, is with fresh tires meaning so much, will we see them come and get 4 tires at the end of their fuel and run it as far as they can, or will we see anybody split the run for the more speed the fresher tires sooner will bring?
Yeah, that's a good question. You're going to see the 22 car on pit road first. He'll be there in about 5 laps or so. And I think that's going to force the hand a little bit of Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman to get down pit road and get tires as well, because if Logano has some time on those fresh tires, he can make some track position up, and possibly in the exchange of green flag stops, he can wind up with the lead.
Yeah, Dale Jr., another one of those on that same strategy they'll be in with a fast race car also.
Watching Joey Logano as we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance to check on some of this strategy. And to pit road, and Jamie.
Yes, Alan, and it's a little bit of a strategy call here. Before we went green again, the team talking to Joey Logano, and he peels off as we speak. They told him we wanted to run up in clean air as long as possible if we want to stay with the 48. They didn't feel like they have anything to beat the 48 straight up. As you see him off sequence, making his way all the way down pit road. The call here will be 4 tires. The car has been pretty good. Balance has been pretty good. Let's go to Dave as more cars come down pit road.
Jr. making his ride onto pit road right now. The last time he pitted was lap 98. You saw in the graphic. He'll get a chassis adjustment and 4 tires. This being because the car is tight in turns 1 and 2 and loose in 3 and 4. Jamie?
And Joey Logano pulled into his pit box as they continue to work on that 88 there. Getting it packed full of fuel, doing the same thing here on the Penske machine. 15 wins here in the Indy 500. Roger Penske wants his first. This has been a good car today. Off sequence has worked, but a long stop for the 22. 18 seconds, Alan.
Now that may have just thrown the wrench into the whole business for Logano and his team. 18-second stop. So, Andy, how much pressure does Logano and Junior making this move to pit road here put on Chad Knaus and Matt Borland for Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman to pit sooner than later?
Yeah, it can put a little bit of pressure on, but we've got some more cars making pit stops now. Vince?
The 56 just been fighting loose, but what a day it's been. Started 38 all the way up into the top 10. If he can get a handle on it, they might make it into the top 5, Jamie.
And Matt Kenseth in the 20, another chassis adjustment. They've been adjusting all day. Loose has been the issue, right sides for Matt Kenseth.
That's interesting.
Yeah, not a bad call.
That's what I was thinking about along the lines with the 2 car when he made his stop. If he would have gotten 4 tires, he could do that, or possibly even no tires and just enough fuel to go. I think Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman right now, having the 88 and the 22 a lap down right at this point, that they may stay out there for a little bit. It's not going to force them. Now, I think they can wait until maybe the 88 gets up there and unlaps himself.
Yeah, that's the key thing. Logano's bad stop, I think, is what's going to force that decision. Doc, here's Montoya.
Well, Juan Pablo Montoya not at all happy with his race car, guys. He said the car simply will not turn in turns 1 and 2, so they decided to come in with their window open with 30 to go. 4 tires, air pressure change, and adjustment. Dave.
Again, the call to Carl Edwards was don't slide the tires. It is going to be a 2-tire stop. His car was a little bit free. He got a chassis adjustment for that as well.
Edwards running as high as 3rd and 2nd earlier in the race, but had a terrible run just after a restart, got shuffled back in traffic, and hasn't made up a lot of that ground as the race has progressed.
Cool. Yeah, you can see how hard Carl Edwards has to work on that apron or that access road to try to get up to speed.
Aric Almirola is in. Jimmie Johnson's team is up on the wall, Doc.
Aric Almirola says he's got a very good race car, and why wouldn't he? Because Brad Parrott, a 2-time winning Brickyard 400 crew chief, is dialing it in. They go right side tires on. Final pit stop for Almirola. He's away, and they're waiting on Jimmie Johnson here on pit road, guys. Here comes Jimmie down for the final time of the day. What a dominating performance with Jimmie with the same car he used to lead 99 laps and win this race a year ago. They updated it to the Generation 6. Here he comes in for the final stop. The crew just told, be deliberate and be flawless, or we'll make a chassis adjustment in the right rear. Right side tires going on. No, it's going to be a left rear chassis adjustment to help Jimmy. Left side tires, a little slow on the left rear because of the adjustment there. Got the grill clean, waiting, got it full of fuel. 17-second stop for Jimmy Johnson. Maybe.
And Casey Kane in the 5, they will opt to take 4 tires this time, pitted from the top 4 position. Car has been pretty decent, just loose from start of the race to now. Alan?
Opportunity for Ryan Newman's team here. After the slow stop from Johnson's, Newman pits from the lead. What'll be 26 laps to go when he crosses the start-finish line. He's in the first pit box all the way down to the end of pit road after winning the pole. Don't get a speeding penalty here.
Fuel.
Is that the call for Matt Borland? 2 tires?
What it sounded like.
Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch also in. Dave?
Tony Stewart is going to take 4. He'd like to end his busy week of dirt track racing and dirt track promoting with his 3rd Brickyard 400, that the car needs to rotate better and have more forward drive. Chassis adjustment. Jamie.
And you guys are right, that was the call on the 39. It was a quick stop. It was clean. They made a track bar adjustment to help the tight condition, right sides, and they filled it up to make it home, guys.
Fascinating.
I tell you what, we've seen Matt Borland and Ryan Newman in years past when they were at Penske do this a lot and win races. I'm not sure I agree with this call. We'll see how it works out for them. They've got a fast car. I would have put 4 tires on it.
Well, I was going to be surprised if you agreed with that. I do like 4. And in this particular case, I think 4 would have been better for him. I think Jimmy Johnson's team made a good move there because it's going to set them up for later in this run if we have some cautions to have better tires.
Not today. Greg Biffle was hoping to have, Vince.
No, they have had a struggle on their hands all day long. In fact, all weekend long. Chassis adjustment there. He said it's just still loose in and loose off, and that's what they've been fighting all weekend long. This is a brand new car, brand new package, but they just haven't been able to get a handle on it. 4 tires.
So Jeff Gordon is the race leader, followed by Denny Hamlin. Then Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Paul Menard, Clint Boyer, Brad Keselowski. And then you get Mark Martin, AJ Allmendinger, and then Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson. Right now, Newman and Johnson are separated by 7 seconds to Newman's advantage.
Well, Jimmy Johnson had a terrible stop there.
Yep.
I think the call was good, but to get 4, that 17 plus pit stop, 17-second plus.
Yeah, about 4.5 seconds more than they were hoping it was going to take at the very least.
There it is, Newman across the yard of bricks, and there's Johnson still way back there. Well, let's see how that's going to play out. And if we get a late caution, it changes it all around. Lots still to be decided here at the Brickyard 400. 50 miles to go in the Brickyard 400, and Jeff Gordon gives up the race lead for a pit stop. Denny Hamlin goes out in front. And Gordon to the attention of his crew. Jamie?
And Jeff Gordon has had all kinds of different conditions today. Loose, tight, and then reversing that. They've been working on the car. Watch for right sides only here. They hinted to me that would be the call when they bring him down pit road. And that is the call. Almost got the fuelman stuck there. 6.6. They got enough to the end.
And this variety of pit stop strategies continuing to play out. Here's the race for the lead. Denny Hamlin 11, Kevin Harvick 29. Hamlin and Harvick last on pit road on the same lap Jeff Gordon was, lap 115. Not going to make it to the finish. They'll have to stop again, and probably soon. Check on the Harvick strategy, Vince.
Well, the issue for Kevin Harvick is that he's not gone more than 28 laps during his stint yet today, and he last pitted at lap 115. That's 35 laps. You can do the math, and I just spoke with Gil Martin just to make sure a moment ago, and he says we cannot make it. We definitely have to stop again. Harvick currently running second, but he'll have to come for a splash.
Figuring to see Hamlin, Harvick, Menard, Boyer, Keselowski, and Martin in very soon.
Yeah, and something we really haven't seen is anybody try to stretch these. We don't anticipate tire issues, but what could happen if your car, and we've heard about these cars not driving well, if you're having to use more brake, you could heat that right front up and possibly create a situation of melting the bead and a tire blowing out in this situation.
While you watch Kenseth Jr. there swap a spot, let me kind of set the overall picture. All those guys I just named, the top 6, are going to have to pit again and very soon. Then you've got Ryan Newman being chased by Jimmy Johnson. Remember that sequence on pit road. Johnson with the slow 4-tire stop, Newman with the 2-tire stop. They've got just 2 seconds on Casey Kane, with Tony Stewart another 3 seconds back, and then the Kenseth Jr. battle that you just saw a second ago.
Hey, and watching these lap times, Jimmy Johnson has been 4 to 6 tenths faster than Ryan Newman, but Casey Kane has been somewhere between a tenth and 2.5 tenths faster than Jimmy Johnson.
So it's not a 2-car race right yet.
Not exactly, but a lot of it depends on where you catch traffic and how that's going to play out here.
If Jimmy Johnson doesn't get a caution, if he's not able to track down Ryan Newman, that last stop will be the one.
You see the stops for Jimmy Johnson. I mean, he's had good average in the 12 seconds every stop, and then that 16.9. Very costly at the wrong time, too. That's the problem.
With everything going on, we talked about that a Chevrolet's won 10 straight. It's going to take some type of a miracle for that not to be 11 straight, because the cars that are in position to win this race are fast Chevrolets.
With the other guys that still need to pit,
yes,
the top 4 are Chevys after those guys all stop. Here's Denny Hamlin from the lead. Hamlin dropped back earlier in the race, struggling with the handling some. Now they're on a different pit stop strategy and trying to make it all work out, Dave.
And that being out front, Alan, was the best thing that had happened for Denny all day, but they knew they were locked into this strategy. The car's still not handling well for Denny, but it hit a little bit better when it was out front there. Led laps today, got a point for that, and they'll make a wedge adjustment finally to try to help him get to the end of this race comfortably.
Kevin Harvick takes over the lead. Those cars will be in quickly, and it'll set up the finish between Newman, Johnson, Kane, and Moore. How's it going to play out in the 20th running of the Brickyard 400? Telecast presented by Golden Corral. You know who's going to win? I don't. Down to the final 13 laps of the 20th Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A great variety of pit stop schedules have shuffled the running order. Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, and now Clint Boyer have just pitted from the lead. Brad Keselowski, the only one out there, still trying to stretch the fuel. Doc?
Yeah, Clint Boyer couldn't make it. He wanted to stay out and lead one lap and get that bonus one for leading a lap. Remember, he came in here today, second in the point standing, 2 right side tires, chassis change, and he's down a little over 7 seconds.
So there's your leader, Brad Keselowski. We heard the story from Dave a while ago. They kind of made their bed. Going to try and stretch the fuel. They don't think they can get to the finish without any caution laps. They haven't had any yet. But what they'd like right now, my opinion, tell me if you agree or not, is for a caution flag, because these other leaders, oh, there he comes.
Too late now.
Yeah, never mind. What I was going to say is a caution flag. These other guys might have run long enough on tire to try and bring some in with him and salvage some spots.
Yeah, it may have worked, but he just finally ran the tank dry. And he's coming to you, Dave.
This morning, Paul Wolfe told me we are on that edge in terms of where we are in the points. 9th in the championship coming in, no wins on the season. He said it's not very comfortable. 4 seconds of fuel is what they needed. You see the fueler walking along to make sure they get it all in there, and that will take Brad to the end of this race.
And so the lead cycles around to Ryan Newman. And remember that critical 2-lap exchange between he and Jimmy Johnson that turned things around from Johnson leading Newman to now Newman leading Johnson. It was Johnson pitting from the lead at lap 133 with an 18-second 4-tire stop. A lap later, Newman pitted from the lead and went for just a 2-tire stop. Jimmy hasn't gained as much on him as I thought he would.
Well, he cut it down to about 2.7 seconds, but the last few laps, Newman has been able to be a little bit faster, probably catching traffic at a better spot than what Jimmy Johnson was.
Josh Wise falling in behind the leader just off pit road with a speeding penalty. Got onto the pit lane a little too hot on his last stop. Casey Kane, 5.5 seconds back in third. Tony Stewart fourth, Matt Kenseth fifth.
The biggest thing Ryan Newman has to worry about now is if the caution comes out, he's going to have cars with fresher tires that are faster than him right on his bumper.
Yeah, settled out to where Johnson and Casey Kane are about the same as far as speed-wise whenever they're not in traffic. But Ryan Newman doing a great job here. Just managing. Knows that he's got less than 10 laps now to make it all happen.
Beginning of the race, we talked about nerves and managing the emotions and so on at the start of this race because it means so much to you that you want to win and you only get the once-a-year shot at it. What about now when you know Jimmy Johnson's behind you, 3 seconds back and trying to close, and you've got a chance to win Indy?
Yeah, staying focused right now is the main thing, not letting any of those thoughts creep in. You can't let yourself get ahead of the situation at hand. You have to hit your marks, make sure that you do the job. Don't leave any door open here to where that could go away and cost you your chance at a Brickyard 400 win.
I can just tell you from the pit box, when that lap count gets to single digits, that heart rate goes up, and all you're thinking about is ways that you can lose it and the way it can get taken away from you. I'm sure he's trying to plan. Matt Borland's probably planning on a caution coming out, what they're going to do. But you can't hardly breathe when it gets down to those last handful of laps. It's really, really hard to stay focused.
Story of the race, Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson shared the front row. Newman took off, led the first 28 laps with Johnson behind him. Johnson pitted 2 laps sooner than Newman on the first green flag stops, and that swapped the lead. Newman went from 2.8 seconds ahead of Johnson to 2.8 seconds behind him. Then Ryan got shuffled back a couple of more spots on a restart when he got caught in the outside lane, made up that ground. A pit strategy call when his team went for 4 tires and most others went for 2. Shuffled him back to 13th. He charged all the way back up into contention. Now this last pit sequence swapped the positions between Newman and Johnson, where Ryan is out in front again.
But you know what the difference is in this race is the mistake that Jimmy Johnson's team made on that pit stop. It was about 4 seconds slow. Right now, Ryan Newman only has a 3-second lead. We talked about how you had to be perfect. You could not make mistakes. And the 48 team made a mistake at the wrong time. And that's the difference right there.
First to second. Casey Kane 4.7 seconds back and not appearing in position to challenge without a caution.
Yeah, Kane's car seems to be really good for about those first 15, 18 laps after they put tires on it. Then it starts to fall off. This car, Jimmy Johnson's, has been strong. He's been beating Newman, but that last lap, Newman was just a little bit quicker.
Now, I'll say statistically, the final caution has come out with less than 30 laps to go in 16 of 19 Brickyard 400s. That last caution was at lap 114 of 160. Not inside that window, but there are exceptions to those statistics. Maybe, for Ryan Newman's sake, this is one of them.
Now they're praying the caution doesn't come out because he's able to keep that gap on Jimmy Johnson, even though he's only got the 2 tires.
5 to go to the top.
He continues to run laps under the 52-second mark, which is really, really good laps right now, with the tires in particular that he has on and in this pressure-packed situation.
Ryan Newman is so good in this situation. When he has the lead and even if he doesn't have the best car, maybe not the best situation on tires, he's able to make the most of it. I mean, he really does get up on that steering wheel. Literally, you can see from the in-car camera.
And this is when, as a driver trying to win this race, you're hoping for a little bit of a break from these cars that you're coming up on. You can see Joe Nemechek get down out of the way. So he's getting all of those by being the leader. It's just helping his cause.
4 laps to go. for Ryan Newman. So many layers to this Newman story. He's driving for Tony Stewart. Stewart saying that a win by Newman or Danica Patrick here would feel every bit as good to him as if he wins it driving himself. Tony's car with Ryan driving is out in front right now.
Tony's had a good run himself today. He's sitting there in fourth spot. They're running first and fourth.
And more on Ryan Newman from Doc.
I rode with Ryan Newman on the truck dirt free race. He looked at me and he said, Doc, this is my dream. Growing up in Indiana, I've always wanted to be here and win. He said, if I'm leading this race with 3 laps to go, I probably will not be able to see. My eyes will fill with water. I'll be thinking about my dream and thinking about my dad and knowing how much he's wanted this for me my entire life. He said, this is the day I've dreamed of from the time I was a little boy.
There are those 3 laps to go, Doc, and Ryan Newman is leading. When Ryan won the pole yesterday here, his dad at the window of his car when he pulled in, eyes filled with tears. Growing up in Indiana, racing all over the Midwest, his dream was to come here and race a stock car. Ryan said to him, it's all about history, the history of the track, and the history about all of auto racing. That's why winning in Indianapolis would be so special to him.
Yeah, I know from somebody that grew up in North Carolina how special it was to go to victory lane here. I can't imagine someone being from Indiana and this being right here in their backyard all the time, just how special it would be. And a driver looking for a ride. It couldn't come at a better time for Ryan Newman, and what a fabulous job he's done with this race car today.
2 to go.
2.8 second lead, 2.8 over the 48.
I hope his eyes are clear enough to see these lap cars.
Yeah, you just have to keep it under. Sometimes you have to be careful because you've got a good lead. You don't want to slow down too much and make your car do things that really it doesn't want to do. You have to keep that speed up enough, but obviously being very careful around these other cars.
Yeah, he's still driving hard. He beat Jimmy Johnson by about 4/10 last lap.
And the white flag will be in the air. 1 more lap to victory lane for Ryan Newman.
White flag, clear out the back.
If he can make it back around, it'll be a hugely popular win with the local Indiana fans. 3 more corners to go. A race-long duel between Newman and Jimmy Johnson.
I hope you're standing tall right now.
What a drive.
What a drive, yeah. Special time.
Under your weight.
Yes, fantastic.
Great job putting him in this position.
Coming to the checker flag right here, man. Thank you, guys. This is amazing. Amazing weekend.
Ryan Newman wins the Brickyard 400.
Yeah, man. Hell of a job. Good job, guys. Awesome, man. Thank you, Quicken Loans, and everybody at Chevrolet. This is awesome. I really didn't expect this coming into this weekend, but thank you very much. Way to go, Ryan Newman!
I can only imagine what that feels like. You both know.
Yeah, tremendous feeling of accomplishment. It's just a huge victory day that, it's one that you'll never forget. And I know in Ryan Newman's case that this will be a day that's very special to him.
It's amazing feeling. Tons of emotions right now.
And the disappointment right there. Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals knowing that this was a race that looked like they had well in hand.
Rusty Wallace said, when you have a chance to win this race and it gets away from you by 1, it'll rip your heart out.
Talk about having to be perfect, and this team was as close to that as they could be today.
something that closed on me. My son Spots, Jason Spots from
Victory Lane is.
He's going to get to
go to Victory Lane.
Spoils of Victory Lane here today.
Get to kiss a brick.
Yeah.
Can't see where I am.
He's had no trouble all day disposing of all of these other cars.
Well, I know they talk about the Irish a lot in South Bend, Indiana, but tonight it's about Ryan Newman in South Bend, Indiana, as he's won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And he's had time to do burnouts, see his team there, try to collect your thoughts. But I promise you, when we get to interview Ryan Newman, he's going to be choked up. It's just going to hit you at that point as you see your family and friends and people that are close to you right there.
The race turned on the last pit stop sequence. Jimmy Johnson's team provided an opening. Ryan Newman's team drove right on through it and on to victory lane here at the Brickyard. Post-race interviews. The winning team owner, Tony Stewart, there no doubt to share in the celebration with his driver, Ryan Newman, winner of the Brickyard 400.
Brickyard 400 is presented by Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness. And in part by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. G.I. Joe Retaliation. Own it Tuesday on Blu-ray Combo Pack. And Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste.
The 20th Brickyard 400 is in the books, and let the celebration begin. We go to Pennzoil Victory Lane.
In pre-race, Ryan, you said you grew up dreaming of just racing a stock car at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then you get the pole, now the win. What were those closing laps like? What was going on inside that helmet?
Man, just stay green. That was the biggest thing. I knew we had a good car. Quicken Loans Chevrolet was good all day. And first of all, I have to thank Quicken, Outback, Wix Filters, Aspen Dental, Code 3, State Water Heaters, Haas Automation, Sprint for giving us this opportunity, and Ice Cold Coca-Cola in Victory Lane, and Chevrolet starting on the pole and winning the race. Just an awesome day for us. Got to thank all the fans for coming out. Matt Borland made an awesome call. I've won more races with him on old tires and out of gas than I have, with 4 tires and the best car. So Hendrick horsepower was amazing today, and thank Tony Stewart and everybody at Stewart-Haas. This is a dream come true for me. I can't wait to get over and push my lips against those bricks.
Ryan, you grew up 2.5 hours north of here in South Bend, Indiana. The Indy 500, you grew up watching it. Your whole family's here. Your dad was spotting for you. Your wife's here with your 2 beautiful daughters. What does it mean to look around and stand right here?
I don't realize it yet. It's a dream come true. I don't think it can if it hits you all at once, it's not good enough. It'll take a week or so for this to set in. And just thank everybody for this opportunity. Everybody in my racing career, just as I said when I won the Daytona 500, everybody that helped me get to that day, same thing again. Thank you. And just so appreciative of all these guys. They worked so hard. We've struggled on and off this year, but just a great run today. Happy it stayed green. We needed that, but that's racing. And Jimmy did a good job. He had a good car. I stayed in the back there and kind of watched him just for a little bit, and then he would check out on restarts, and I had to come back. But a great long-run car with a Quicken Loans Chevrolet, and man, what an ending to a day.
Ryan, the ups and downs of racing. 2 weeks ago, it was announced you won't be back with this team. What does a win like this do for you moving forward?
The biggest thing is confidence. The confidence for me, confidence in the team, confidence with me in the team, and we still got a championship to go after. We've still got the chase to chase, and there's still plenty of racing left. And this was a great day for us in points, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, tomorrow's a new day. We'll be, come Pocono, this will be the past.
Go kiss those bricks, all right?
Thank you.
Ryan Newman is your winner in Indianapolis.
Ryan Newman, he's going to kiss his daughter.
Well, Ryan's crew chief, Matt Borland, just made it to victory lane to walk in there. His owner, Tony Stewart, is, I think, still working through the crowd, and our Dave Burns is with him.
We stopped him on pit road. He's on his way, Alan. He's going to get there. Wednesday, you didn't race, but you were a winner. Today, you finished fourth, but you were a winner. Describe your feelings right now.
I can't wait to give him a hug, man, and congratulate him. He just did an awesome job all weekend, getting on the pole, and he was in the hunt all day. He led early, obviously, and it was down to him in the 48 car. That was easy to see. So, I didn't know what the strategy was going to be at the end, and just kept looking up at the board and watching, and I was scared to ask where he was at and how big a lead he had. Finally, with 3 to go, I couldn't wait any longer. Finally asked and wanted to know what was going on. I just didn't want to jinx him, so just kept watching the jumbotrons every time we'd come off of 4, and was watching to see where he was at. So just really proud of him. I mean, he's a great teammate. He's even a better friend. So just couldn't be happier for him. I mean, this is awesome. This is our home race, so doesn't get any better than this.
Big day for you. Go give him that big bear hug. Tony Stewart finishes fourth today. Steve Addington led him to that fourth place finish, Jamie.
And Matt Borland is the man you heard Ryan Newman talking about, was on the box, the crew chief making those calls. You told me this morning, we're probably a top 8 car. Where did this run come from? You guys were flawless today. Top 3 all the way.
Yeah, it was a great day for the Quicken Loan Chevy. I mean, just fantastic day. The guys in the shop just kept rebuilding this guy right here kept rebuilding this car, and it got better and better, and we finally brought a piece that we're able to get everything right and have everything go right on race day, and just couldn't be prouder of the whole team.
You and Ryan go way back. You know how much this place means to him. What does this mean for you to be standing here and know that your man got to victory lane with you?
Oh, it's huge. This is his hometown, and the Brickyard is the Brickyard. It's the best race out there, and to win it's awesome. To have him win in his hometown. Our car chief Lawrence Burtz, this is where he grew up, and Indy's the biggest thing to him, so it's just awesome.
Congratulations, Alan. They've run this car a lot this year. They call it the workhorse, and now it's the winner at the Brickyard.
Ryan's dad there, Greg, being embraced by Tony Stewart. And the extended family celebration in Victory Lane in Indianapolis. Special.
Thank you. I crashed off to 3 when he said he goes, congratulations, Ryan. I got stuck in the pit.
Somehow I have a feeling that the celebration's going to continue for a little while with this bunch.
I think you're right about that.
And deservedly so. More post-race reaction coming up from Indianapolis after Ryan Newman's win in the Brickyard. Some weeks just get you the ordinary high five. Not Indianapolis.
Not here. You can see just what it means to win at Indy.
The big celebration for Ryan Newman's team, so critical in helping him do the victory burnouts and get to celebrate a win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Newman the winner of the 20th Brickyard 400. After the late race sequence of pit stops, swung the pendulum in his favor in his race-long duel with Jimmy Johnson. While the interviews and the photos and so on continue, we look at the results of today's race at the Brickyard. And plenty of interviews coming up. Here's how they ran today. Newman and Jimmy Johnson did almost all the leading, but again, that last pit stop sequence swung the pendulum.
And Casey Kane had a fast car all day, just didn't have it when it counted.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth solid all day there. Fidel Jr. from an early problem with a loose right rear wheel came back to take a top 10.
Kyle Busch a top 10. And we head down to the grid, or actually the post-race area with Doc.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, what a dominant performance until that final pit stop that cost you a lot of time on the racetrack. How do you describe the disappointment right now?
There's definitely disappointment there, but this is racing and stuff happens. I've given away a couple late in the race myself this year, so we win as a team, we lose as a team. It's just how it is. I wouldn't take another race team out there. I'm very proud of this Cobalt Tools Chevrolet, the team and everything that goes into it. So, great day. Ryan was fast all day long. I can't take anything away from him. He at the beginning of the race, he paced everything for a long time. I think he got mired back in traffic for a while there, and then towards the end of the race, he worked his way back to the front, and he was plenty fast. So big hats off to Ryan and everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing.
Such a good race car all day long. We used a lot of adjectives to describe this performance. How would you describe the car you had here today?
It wasn't the easiest one to drive. I was real tight in and then loose off. And if I had clean air in the track to myself, I could get my line right and run the laps I needed to. But in traffic, it was a little tougher than what I wanted. But it still was an awesome race car. I just came up a little short today, but we'll load up and go to the next one, try to win next week.
Great job by Jimmy Johnson, finishing second.
Now the race swung on the pit stops with 27 and 26 laps to go. Ryan Newman topping Jimmy Johnson as the last car to run in qualifying on Saturday to win the pole position, setting up this day-long duel. Newman led early, Johnson went out in front, and then these two stops decided it.
Yeah, the high-pressure last pit stop, Jimmy Johnson's team had a hiccup on the right rear. You can see there, loose lug nuts or falling lug nuts cost them a lot of time, and that opened the door for Ryan Newman's team.
Yeah, for Matt Borland to say, okay, we can get a big lead right here by taking two tires because of their slow stop. About 10 seconds for a difference in those two stops. Paved the way for Ryan Newman to get to victory, go to victory lane, and do something he's dreamed of.
Ryan Newman and his team, our Goodyear Superior performers of today's race. They'll be out to kiss the brick shortly. We'll see that, and we'll talk to some of the other top finishers in today's running of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Casey Kane finished third today. A few moments ago, Doc spoke with him.
Standing with Casey Kane. Casey, you had a rocket in those final 25 laps.
Yeah, I think we did the whole race at times, and we just really got going at the end of the race. We had a really fast, great clip Chevrolet, and we kept falling back too far. Just things happen, and we got back, and then you got to pass, and you get so far behind with track position here. So it takes a while to get back to the front. But the guys did a nice job. Had a really fast car. Great Hendrick horsepower was key, and congrats to Ryan. He had a big weekend, and he deserved it and needed it.
You talk about falling back with track position. If you had to do over, what would you change today about what you guys did in terms of pit road?
Well, I think we'd start with the car just a little bit different. I really struggled behind cars early in the race and got really tight off the corners. Once we fixed that, we were really competitive with everybody, and at times we're the best car.
Great job, bud.
Thank you.
It's a big finish for Dale Earnhardt Jr. today to come all the way from the back of the pack to finish sixth. Less than 15 laps had gone by, Dale, and you had to come in for a loose wheel. Ended up 43rd out of that and made your way back. How'd you do it?
Well, we changed the strategy up a little bit. A couple other guys did the same thing we did, but Steve did a good job. I knew he would. This is his kind of race where he can do some things on pit road that really gives us an opportunity to get up front. And so I was really dependent on him. He came through today. Guys did a good job giving me a good car. Nascar Chevrolet had great speed, and we had a good day. I mean, happy for Jimmy and all those guys and how they ran, and wish they could have won the race. And at least we got a Hendrick motor in victory lane, and good job at Newman.
When something goes wrong early in the race and you're staring a horrible finish, and then you end up getting a top 10, how big is that from a confidence perspective for this team?
It's a long race, and I knew that we'd get opportunity to get back toward the front, get opportunity. When something like that happens, you can really change your strategy and get off sequence and make it work for you. And Steve's one of the best guys at doing that, and it worked out. I had a feeling in the back of my mind when it happened that I just stayed calm. Steve's going to fix something up here and make it work.
Well done. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished the sixth.
If I could, I'd like to say hey to my mamaw and Danny and Kay and Kathy and everybody back home. We had a loss in the family today, and just thinking about everybody, and hope they are having a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Junior. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s uncle, Randy, passed away.
And certainly our thoughts and sympathies to all of the Earnhardt family on the loss of Randy Earnhardt, known to basically everybody in the garage area.
Yeah, certainly.
The big trip around the track in the convertible leading back to the gathering at the Yard of Bricks.
Yeah, that's a fun ride around this place, too. I tell you, to have the fans out there screaming and hollering, cheering your accomplishment there, and headed down to the Yard of Bricks.
Yeah, that has to be a neat sight, too. You see all the people waiting on it to get there to line up and kiss those bricks.
Tradition started kind of by accident in 1996 when Dale Jarrett won the race. His crew chief Todd Parrott basically said, hey, come on. Right? A bunch of people ran over there and kissed it, and all the photographers said, wait, come back.
Yeah, this is way more organized than what we had then.
I love how all the fans from different parts of the grandstand make their way around, those that stayed to come right down here to see this. Look at that. Now, last year, Jimmy Johnson's daughter didn't really want any part of kissing that brick, or didn't want to play along here.
Beautiful family.
Yeah.
She was thinking about it. She's been told not to do that at some point in time. You know?
Must be an acquired taste. She hasn't acquired that yet. That's funny.
Just seeing the whole thing just makes me smile.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a real feel-good moment.
It's great to be able to share something like that with your family.
And I guess part of it for me, too, is knowing how hard these guys work and how difficult this race is to win. Seeing them get to enjoy this, all of them together.
Yeah, I think as a driver and a competitor, you're so happy that all of these guys that work so hard to get you and put you in that position, give you a race car like that, that they're able to enjoy something like this and share in it. A lot of times you're in victory lane, a lot of pictures are taken, but this right here is something each and every one of them will have for the rest of their life.
The great celebration for a great accomplishment. A win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. South Bend, Indiana's Ryan Newman and his team getting to celebrate after a wonderful run today.